Then all of a sudden, it's gone quiet again. And you just heard a minority owner, he just didn't even want to go down that road and give anybody a headline on the potential of Aaron Rodgers, just basically saying that that is a more difficult conversation than artificial intelligence.
And obviously, it's not cut and dry. It's not like Aaron Rodgers saying, you know what, I just want to play football. Just agent, present me with a contract I want to play. There's probably a lot of details in that. Is this more on reservations on the team side, do you think? Or do you think it's more on Aaron Rodgers? And you know what? I'm gonna continue to explore my options, and I'm not gonna let anybody know right up until the last moment that I need to let somebody know.
For me, I am surprised. Like, if I just do not see the Pittsburgh Steelers as a franchise waiting on anyone.
No.
And especially Aaron Rodgers. So that's the thing to me that surprises me as an outsider watching this, because that franchise is so buttoned up, and
they're proud. It's a proud franchise,
absolutely,
and they should be.
Absolutely. And the Steelers are one of the franchises that they just don't play these games. So I'm just very curious why they continue this malaise over the fan base in regards to what's going to happen with Aaron Rodgers.
And there's plenty of other franchises right now. I say plenty. There are some. It would be multiple that would like to take a flyer on Aaron Rodgers, even if it was for a 1 year or maybe,
what are the other rumors
maybe even
for
half
Aaron?
a season, just to boost fan interest and ticket sales.
Like where else he could go?
I mean, at one point it was the Giants, right? But they filled up their quarterback room.
I mean, I think it's Steelers or nothing.
It was the Giants, and then there was always that lingering possibility that he could move out closer to the West and go to Las Vegas.
Yeah,
potentially.
I mean, at this, and I understand it's a unique situation, and I don't know how the financials would work out. I mean, if I'm the 49ers, I'm probably calling Aaron Rodgers like, hey, man, you want to come and battle it out with Brock Purdy? Because
no,
I'm not sold on Brock
See,
Purdy.
And that's where he hangs up the phone. I'm Aaron Rodgers. I'm not going to battle it out with anybody.
I know, and that would be the problem there. But it's like, man, if you could just lower your ego a little bit, be in a really good situation there.
Well, I'm just also curious about what the people in Pittsburgh, because we've got all these monitors on our screens right now, and it is the breaking news story about the Steelers agreeing to trade George Pickens to the Cowboys. And Matt Miller, who's one of these draft experts, he's from Arkansas, and I know he's been on Mac and Cube's show. He didn't have a very good draft, mock draft. He was one of the worst guys that was listed on that list that I gave you guys about a week ago. And he just went on X a minute ago, and he just said that this is absolutely the worst roster that Mike Tomlin has ever had in his tenure at the Pittsburgh Steelers.
It's not great. I mean, you look at seriously, whoever the quarterback is that comes in, you have DK Metcalf, and that's it. I mean, some other guy, Jalen Warren's fine. Freiermuth is okay.
So you can imagine what the people in Pittsburgh are saying today. Like, what is the plan here? We don't have a quarterback. You just traded off one of the best players that we had on the roster. So what's the plan? Instead of now you're going to get a couple of draft picks.
Well, and there was a rumor going around that they essentially had a deal in place with Pittsburgh, a verbal agreement. But this goes back to what we were talking about earlier in the week, where some people think he went off and got married. Some people have said he's had some personal things he's doing with this offseason. And so until that stuff's in the past, he isn't going to make a decision. But if you're the Steelers, do you not want this guy in your organization right now, working out, building chemistry with these guys? Because we saw the same thing with the Jets, right? He really didn't put in all that much effort when it came to offseason workouts and getting to know those guys, and it never panned out.
I just don't understand why it's taking so long. Either you do or you don't.
I mean, maybe the Saints would be another team that would.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think that's it. Those two. Everyone else is pretty set right now.
So if you want to play, I think you could get a deal cut. Because didn't he give an interview and say that he would take less money?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But if you're also Aaron Rodgers at this point, like this Steelers team, you're not doing anything with this Steelers team. You might get a wild card bid, but is that how you want to go out, or do you just want to go ahead and go out on your own terms and say, man, yeah, those last 2 years in New York, that was really unfortunate, but
I would be more excited about Cam Ward as my quarterback in Nashville than I would be if the Steelers acquired Aaron Rodgers today.
Absolutely.
We've seen the best of Aaron Rodgers.
Absolutely. I agree with that.
He's going to sell tickets. He's going to create buzz. but do you ultimately think that he's going to lead you to a championship, whether it be divisional, whether it be conference, whether it be Super Bowl? No.
Well, that's why I said for him, if his big goal is to win one more Super Bowl, go somewhere like the 49ers where you have a better shot of doing that. But
where you have the pieces around you, you can get it done.
Yeah, but I don't think that's going to happen.
So that will be the dominating story headlines on your radio and television throughout the day in regards to Hoover's very own George Pickens.
So bottom line, if you're a Cowboys or a Steelers fan, what we're telling you is you have nothing to look forward to in 2025.
Well, as
Good
we
morning.
know, spring weather in Alabama can be really unpredictable, so that's why you need the reliability of a Train, voted America's most trusted HVAC brand. And right now you can receive up to a 10-year warranty on parts and labor on select Train home comfort systems. So to find out more, go and visit Train.com.
1-800-239-WJOX. We have a little bit of time before our first guest, which will be Brian Edwards, coming up at 10:45. Mike Newton from the Friends of Rickwood, a big announcement yesterday we told you about here on Jocks 94.5's three-man front. We will get the details from Mike. Big event coming to Rickwood Field. And also a good friend of the program, Dimitri Ravenos, is going to be on the show. He's got a very interesting article out there that we will share on our social media about Bill Belichick and Jordan. Oh, it's going to be great. We'll get into all that, your calls, your texts on the Courtesy GMC text line. A busy Wednesday. Back in studio, this is Jocks 94.5. We will get to your phone calls, 1-800-239-WJOX, the courtesy GMC text line, 205-834-9450.
Dobbs Ford, right there on Parkway East in Birmingham. Get into Dobbs Ford today, and you can enjoy the great employee pricing they're offering right now. That's right. You pay what the Ford employees pay, and 90 days until your first payment. Dobbs Ford, they're going to beat any competitor's price. You're going to get top dollar for your trade in Alabama's largest showroom selection, F-150s, Mustangs, Broncos, Sports, Explorers, Escapes, and so much more. Friends at Dobbs Ford, you're going to get the family customer experience. That's right. When you go in there, it's like you've known the Goshens, Rachel, Joey, managing partners there forever. DobbsFordBirmingham.com. DobbsFordBirmingham.com. Make sure you tell them Landrum from Jock 94.5 sent you.
So the SEC softball tournament is going on over in Athens, Georgia. We heard Mike Griffith talking about that yesterday. The 10 seed, the Alabama Crimson Tide, they hung on for a 3-2 win Tuesday night in the opening round of the SEC softball tournament over the 15 seed Auburn. The Tide will now play number 7 seed South Carolina at 7 o'clock tonight on the SEC network. Meanwhile, Auburn will have to wait to see if their name is called at the NCAA selection tournament show. Alabama baseball, they scored 7 runs in the first 2 innings as the Tide rolled to a 10-2 win against number 19 Troy last night. Alabama improves to 37-12 on the season, with the Tide closing its non-conference midweek slate of games with a perfect 13-0 record. How about that? Not bad for Alabama. They're now 13-9 versus ranked opponents this season. Big series coming up down at Sewell Thomas Stadium as number 6 Georgia comes to town this weekend.
And with the win over Troy last night, Alabama undefeated in midweek.
Well, you were on the phone. I just said that.
Oh, sorry. I was on the phone.
Oh, no. That's yeah. We're all good. Yeah, 13-0.
Stole my thunder, Pat. Dang it.
It also should be noted that Alabama's undefeated in midweek games.
What was that? What was that stat you were telling me before?
They were undefeated in midweek. Oh, what?
What?
Did y'all know the Stallions are playing on Mother's Day this weekend?
Had no idea.
And now they're predicting maybe some potential bad weather.
At 11 a.m. on Mother's Day?
Yes, on Sunday.
Is that Mother's Day?
Mm-hmm. Okay. All day on Sunday.
This just in, George Pickens to Dallas.
Seriously.
Yep.
That just happened?
That's what I'm reading.
1-800-239-WJOX. Let's get to the phone calls.
Let's go to Robert. He's in Greenville. Hey, Robert.
Good morning. How y'all doing?
Well, hope you are.
Listen, I'm a Steelers fan. I live in, even though I live in South Alabama, I probably watch about 9 or 10 Steeler games a season. But George Pickens became a really big headache in the locker room. And I know he's from Hoover, but when he came back from his injury, whatever injury he had, he did not do a very good job of separating. He did not do a very good job of being physical against corners and safeties, winning one-on-one battles. He did not block in the running game. He didn't like to go over the middle because he was afraid that he was going to get, even though he's pretty tall. And I don't want to say he's terribly physical, but he's big enough to handle those kind of hits. And I just think that the Steelers had to do something because he got worse as the season went along. And I know Russell Wilson may be too cool for school with his leadership, but look, they had to do something. I mean, I know he started out well, and then after he came back from the injury, he really struggled when the weather got cold toward the end of the year. I mean, remember the Steelers in with a 5-game losing streak, and I think they can go out and get a free agent wide receiver to help DK Metcalf. And there's some other good receivers on this roster. I mean, like Calvin Austin, like Ben Shanerick. It's just they're not big-name people outside of Pittsburgh. And and all the draft experts had the Steelers with an A- or B+ rating. And look, I know that Baltimore is going to be the favorite in this division, but I would take Pittsburgh over both Cincinnati and Cleveland going into the season. And I know that they're on a long playoff win drought, and they've got to do something about it. But look, I do think this is going to be a good year. The Steelers get AFC East, which is a very weak division, and they've got a lot of big games coming to Pittsburgh. And look, I have faith in the Roonies that they will find another wide receiver. Hopefully that will convince Aaron Rodgers to come and get things straightened out. I know there's some issues, but I just don't buy that there's nothing for Pittsburgh Steelers fans to look forward to. That's about the only thing they have to look forward to. The Pirates sucking so bad.
Oh, they are bad. Thank you for the phone call, Robert.
Well, if you
Not
want
as
to
bad
go
as the
out-
Rockies.
No, not as bad as the Rockies. Well, if you want to go get a receiver, you could go get Amari Cooper. He's out there. Keenan Allen out there from free agency. So some guys a little bit older, but still could be a little productive there. in
So I don't
Pittsburgh.
follow the Pittsburgh Steelers on a day-to-day basis, but I am just curious. Was he a locker room problem, Pickens?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
He's a bit of a,
I just remember him getting one of the lasting. He had a couple of incidences at the University of Georgia.
he did.
One, he got ejected from the Georgia Tech game. And then there was another incident where he sprayed water on somebody. Do you remember that?
I do.
He was on the
Mhm.
sideline and he
Mhm.
took the water bottle and
Mm-hmm.
squirted Gatorade or water, whatever the case was.
Yeah, he's just one of those players that you could, when things weren't going his way on the sidelines, he was going to make it very apparent that he was not happy, and he was going to let everybody know that it's George Pickens' way or the highway.
Well, I can attest to that because Hewitt took Hoover to the woodshed one Friday night at our stadium, and Pickens was the wide receiver, and he pitched a fit on the sideline. Yeah.
That's-
These stories that the chain gang and
Oh, well.
the antics that he had on the sideline during that game when things weren't going his way, that's the way it was, at least in that game.
He's just one of those. He's so uber talented. It's like, man, if you could just get that under control, the sky's the limit for someone like him. So hopefully, change of scenery will fix some of that.
Well,
but-
obviously, Kirby didn't do much to get that straightened out.
No. Well, to be fair, he didn't really play a whole lot during his college career. So
He was in the
various
tub
reasons.
a lot.
He was various reasons, but yeah, didn't play a whole lot in college.
Let's go back to the phones. Let's talk to Chris. Joins us here on 3-Man Front. Hey, Chris.
How's it going, guys?
What's happening, Chris? You going to the game Sunday morning? 11 o'clock, Mother's Day, Protective Stadium?
I didn't go last week. I'm gonna try to go. For the last call, I never understand why Steelers fans ever complain. You constantly make it to the playoffs, even by default, damn near. But hey, maybe you should try being humble to Mike Tomlin and have Dennis Allen as your coach for a number of years. But first and foremost, guys, I got three things to mention. First, with Jerome Moore. The NCAA is at fault here because you should have disqualified Matt Michigan a long time ago. At this point, it's a dead horse you're beating, because if you're just gonna let him choose the games that he's gonna be quote unquote dismissed from, it's honestly frivolous. 1, 2. When it comes to Texas, you guys, why do you give them egos?
Give who?
Why do you rank them as number one preseason?
Well, it was a consensus. But if you don't think they're going to be a top 5 team coming in, who would you have at number 1? Let me ask you that, Chris. Who would you have at number 1?
Number 1, honestly, I would say possibly based off from last year. It's really too early to say, but I would say honestly Georgia. But honestly, because let's be honest, when they won the SEC, unlike Texas, and let's be real here, when it comes to Texas, you don't give a chimp a gun. Don't give them egos when they already walk around like d-bags with since undeserved self-accomplishment. Okay, 1, that's 2. Last but not least, with 3, when it comes to the Stallions, I would hope that they keep the offense somewhat varied. And on a side note, Conrad, tell them about the prank I came up with, if you wouldn't mind.
So, are y'all familiar with the movie Step Brothers?
Yeah.
Okay, so you know the poster for the movie where it's Will Ferrell and John C. Reilly doing like the family portraits. Chris wants to have T-shirts made with the Step Brothers theme, and it's him and Damien.
Oh, I thought it involved a drum set.
Everyone at job.
That'd be a different prank.
That was my first guess, is drum set prank.
Hey, honestly, if he's not gonna like me, well, might as well get everybody on board.
Where's the beef? Where's that beef? Where does that originate?
Yeah, did you guys get it straightened? Did you get it straightened out at Trim Tab? I saw you guys talking.
we see you guys shirtless in the end zone one season with the Stallions, and now you're bitter enemies.
You tell me, sir. I love to know because I tried to shake his hand. He's and get the F out of here. And one, just see number two. I'm like, and this is the way we go about it. Everybody just comes to work every day just wearing the shirt, and he's like, "What is that?" And everyone just oblivious to it. What is this work attire? You're paranoid, man. All right, yeah, I'll take care.
Thank you, Chris.
Thanks, Chris.
Appreciate it.
I felt like Chris had more to say. That was going to be very therapeutic for him. He was opening up.
Mm-hmm.
It sounds like he wants to offer the olive branch, and Damien's refusing.
He has the hatchet ready to bury. Just Damien needs the shovel to dig the hole.
Life's too short, guys.
I agree.
Well, the three of us were at Trim Tab, and it looked like that they were trying to come to some type of resolution, but apparently it didn't work out.
Say maybe one party was trying to come to a resolution.
Over
So-
a pint, like two gentlemen just sitting there and hashing it out. You don't have to be best friends.
You remember the beer summit at the White House?
Yeah.
Remember when Obama
Mhm.
did the beer summit?
Yes.
Who was that with? You remember that?
Globetrotters. I don't remember.
But you know what I'm talking
Yeah,
about.
he had a beer summit.
Yeah.
They just tried a bunch of different beers at the White House.
No, I mean there was a rub with someone, and he decided, hey, just come to the White House. Let's sit on the in the Rose Garden and have a beer, and we'll straighten this out.
It's how we handle things.
Mm-hmm. It's the American way.
That's right.
Have a beer and discuss the problems of the world and get it solved.
Maybe next time.
So I guess we need to X off the beer summit, Molly, from the ways to get Damon and Chris back together, because that did not work out.
No, maybe a margarita.
I was about to say, maybe it's because it was craft beer. Maybe it has to be domestic.
Right.
Possibly. Maybe so.
We'll figure it out.
More of your calls, your text messages as well. This is the Wednesday edition. 3-man front on Jocks 94.5. It's 10:32, Jocks 94.5 on an overcast Wednesday. Back in studio, the whole gang back together. Appreciate you tuning us in on this Wednesday. It appears that the ACC, they're not going to just go quietly in regards to their basketball season being a complete disaster this previous season. The fact that Duke was the only halfway decent team they had. It was a record-setting poor performance in regards to a number of teams that made it to the NCAA tournament. So the ACC ADs have now officially approved moving to an 18-game schedule in basketball. League has been on a 20-gamer since 2019. Decision was made in part because the ACC only sent 4 of its 18 teams to the NCAA tournament. So as the SEC football continues to debate whether they're going to go from 8 to 9 conference games, the ACC basketball ADs have now voted to chop 2 games off their conference schedule because they want more teams in the NCAA tournament.
Well, that's good. Now they can expand their non-conference. So let's have Duke versus Alabama and Auburn.
That would be nice.
There we go.
We'll take that.
Rematches from last year.
ACC is going to get better, though. Ryan Odom going from VCU to Virginia, try to restore that program. You've got Will Wade going to NC State.
Miami can't be any worse than they were this year.
No.
Surely not.
That's really all I got. 18 games sounds like a good number.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, NC State, the hot name for PJ Haggerty right now.
Pat, that means that you're going to have to dial into the MEAC a little bit more next year.
You know, speaking of my favorite conferences in the world, this summer, or not summer, but this post football season for the MAC, I've been literally depressed.
Why?
I'll tell you why. First off, got news last night that Akron is not postseason eligible now because their APR scores. Joe Moorhead, who is a friend of the program.
Joe, you had one job and it was not winning games.
Joe was a frequent visitor on this radio show. In Landrum and he shared an affinity for Kool-Aid pickles.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
What?
You know that?
You ever met one of those people where you meet them and instantly you know that you're just going to be buddies?
Yeah, you're soulmates. Him and Joe Moorhead were soulmates.
That was me and Joe.
Mm-hmm.
What's a
Good old
Kool-Aid
Joe.
pickle?
Oh, God.
That's
Oh,
my
you've
stuff
never
on
been to
too.
a convenience store in the state of Mississippi?
You ever had chicken on a stick?
Yeah?
You ever had a tater log?
No.
No.
What's a pickle Kool-Aid? Is it a pickle in a
What
jar
in
of
the
Kool-Aid?
world is
What
going on
in
there?
the heck was that?
I have no idea.
Sounds like a baseball organ.
Is that like a trigger word for your AI?
Kool-Aid
I
pickle?
think it's
Kool-Aid
because
pickle?
I said Mississippi.
It sounds an alert on Pat's phone.
That's very loud. I apologize for that.
Yeah, but we struck up a pretty good rapport.
Yeah, so news came out yesterday that the academic progress report for Akron came in at a 914. If you're keeping score at home, you need to have at least a 930 to be postseason eligible.
How does this happen? Because we have virtual learning and talking with coaches from across the country.
They apparently just didn't go to class or turn their computers on.
I talked to one parent the other day whose daughter is in Tuscaloosa, and he said she had the option of going virtual, and he said, no, I'm paying all this money. You're going to walk your butt to class, and you're going to sit in that classroom.
Well, you know, Dylan's final year at Hewitt-Trussville High School, this was during the pandemic. You know, they had the option of going complete, online, or you could have a blended where you could go in person. And it was his senior year. And I was like, you are going to class.
Mm-hmm.
You are going to class.
Yeah.
Because we're seeing now how many of our young people have struggled with a lot of things coming out of COVID. And I think a lot has to do with the school. But anyway, back to the APR scores before I get in trouble talking politics. The average score for Division I teams across sports was 984. So you have to have 930 to be eligible for postseason. Akron had 914.
That's absurd. It really is. There's virtual learning. Kids don't have to go to class that are playing these sports. And a lot of times they're taking tests and there's ways around it. And they're doing it virtually. So they're really not even, in some cases, learning.
Akron becomes the first school to be banned from the postseason for academic reasons since Idaho in 2014.
I was going to say, when's the last time you heard, oh, this player didn't make their grades, they're going to have to sit out the bowl game? You don't hear that anymore because you know what? They're getting paid too much to keep them from playing. There's an
Well, if they want their
investment there.
paycheck, they go to class.
They go to class, or one of their guidance people or advisors or helpers to the program takes their test, helps them with their coursework. And that's the last thing that coaches are concerned with these days. They're worried about the renegotiation before a big game and protecting their rosters. Grades, that's way on down the list. How does that happen, Joe Mo?
Zips are 8-28 in 3 seasons under Joe Moorhead, though their 4-8 record last year equaled the total number of wins over the first 2 seasons of Moorhead at the helm. So this is why I've been depressed about the MAC. Not only the bad news last night about Akron, Bowling Green loses head coach
Scott
Leffler to the Eagles.
Sellout.
Kent State fires its head coach Kenny Burns after an internal investigation. Northern Illinois announces they're leaving the conference, going to the Mountain West. And now this Akron story.
What's next, Buffalo? But
I will give you good news that Central Michigan, maybe because of all the Connor Stallion stuff, they tore their turf up. They're getting new turf. So that's positive.
And they're getting a game versus Michigan without Sherrone Moore.
I was about to say, they have to make it look nice for Michigan's interim head coach. Want to leave a good impression.
Mm-hmm. So
Ohio, and Miami of Ohio. They're still
Western Michigan. Everything looks good.
That's the lifeblood of that conference.
Matter of fact, it might have been. I take that back. It might have been Western Michigan that was getting the new turf.
No, Western.
Mm-hmm.
Molly, did you just Google Kool-Aid pickle?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, it's pretty gross.
I'm still hung up on that.
What?
Well,
don't do your face like that.
Well, you and I are going to Mississippi next week.
I don't like pickles.
Well, you're gonna love Kool-Aid pickles.
No.
So we'll stop at a convenience store.
Well, no.
Yeah, we'll put it on social media. It'll be fun. You'll have a good time.
It'll be good. Get her chicken on a stick too.
Yeah.
No, that I can do.
And a tater log.
Not a Kool-Aid pickle.
How about
tater
Molly?
log?
Sure.
Would you rather eat the pickle or Sir Strong?
You have to broaden your horizons culturally.
Neither.
Well, yeah, if you have to pick.
I'm also a really picky eater.
Try a Kool-Aid pickle.
Can you get different flavors, or is it all just the red Kool-Aid?
Oh, there's different flavors.
Okay.
Just depends on which gas station you go to.
That's fun.
Pick your favorite color, favorite flavor. But yeah, it's that nice balance apparently between deep fried food.
So is it a single one, or are you getting a whole jar of them?
You can get if you want the whole jar. Okay. Yeah. You got a long way to go.
That's concerning.
Next stop's not for 50 miles. You might need a few of them.
My wife would probably love those. She loves pickles. They're my least favorite food in the world.
Same.
Absolutely, bar none.
Ugh.
Least favorite.
I love a good kosher dill pickle, especially with a burger. But a good one, like a Clausen.
Same with you, Conrad. Least favorite food.
Disgusting.
Yeah.
I want one that has not been tinted, that with the yellow dye. I want the kind that's refrigerated. I want a bougie kosher dill pickle.
So do you ever like the ones that, they come in the bag and it's literally like the entire pickle and you'll just eat it like
Can't do those anymore.
corn dog or something?
No, I used to do them as a
Those
kid.
are
I can't do them anymore. Yeah.
There was somebody around here that used to eat those.
Yeah, remember you would go and I'm sure that you can still go into convenience stores and find the giant jars.
Mm-hmm.
And they got the brine and they're just sitting there and you're wondering, number one, but there's a lot of things that you're thinking about. If you're thinking about grabbing one of those pickles, whose hand's been in here? When was the last time this was changed out? Does the health department really ever come in here?
Does all the vinegar doesn't just burn all the germs away? Isn't that how that works?
You'd like to think so.
Yeah,
but
you
no.
would, wouldn't you?
Mm-mm.
Well, water can find its way into your crawl space, bringing dangerous mold, mildew, and wood rot, but APS can protect your home's foundation and provide valuable storage space along the way. The APS crawl space encapsulation system can stop water, keep pests out, while lowering your energy costs. The engineers at APS can design a custom solution for the issues that you have currently going on at your house. 205-951-9717. Start protecting your home today with APS. Go to their website, alabamaprofessional.com. 205-951-9717. That is APS.
We can make you feel better. He can make you feel better. Brian Edwards, our Vegas insider, where the sharp money is going, NBA playoffs and more. Brian's next on 3-Man Front.
It's 10:45. Jock's 94.5. Despite Conrad blowing off Brian Edwards last week when he was down at the beach, Brian still has agreed to come on the show today. Joins us on the Higginbotham hotline. Hey, Brian.
He's not a fair weather guest or friend.
No, he's a friend of me and you, not to Conrad.
Hey, Brian.
Good morning, gentlemen. No, that's false. Conrad wasn't blowing me up. He was on the other side of town, so we did not get up. But he tells me his dad lives on my side of town, so next trip we will get up.
Okay. Well, I had some misinformation. He made it sound like to us that he was too busy for you, and that kind of upset me. So.
Oh, I thought you said that he was blowing me up. Or you said blowing me off.
Yeah, he was blowing you off.
He's blowing you off.
Yeah.
Oh, right. Well, he had a bachelor party. I get it. No big deal.
Yeah, just hanging out with a bunch of dudes.
Yeah, a bunch of guys.
Brian doesn't like to paint me in a bad light like y'all.
He could go and learn something
Yeah.
that he could use in life from you, a seasoned veteran.
Yeah.
All right. I like it.
All right. First, before we start talking a little Vegas, I want to get your immediate thoughts on Todd Golden's new contract that came out yesterday for the Gators.
I like it. I don't think he was a threat to leave or anything like that, but well earned. And what I really like even more is that I saw that one of Florida's longtime beat reporters, Chris Terry, it wasn't on his Twitter timeline. I guess he might have said it on a radio show. Apparently, Golden yesterday, while they announced the contract signing, he was actually in New York City where a guy named Bookie Fland resides. And so that's what I was more excited to hear, because I think if Boogie Fland, I think he's testing the waters and in the portal, if I'm not mistaken, but I could be mistaken. If he were to land at Florida with Xavier Lee, the Princeton guard who transferred to go, and then hopefully Condon will, pull out of the draft as he's testing the waters. With our 4-pack of bigs and those two guards, I would be really excited about that. So that was more of what I took away from yesterday in the Todd Golden front.
Speaking of basketball, the pro ranks, we've got the NBA playoffs going on right now. First of all, I'd like to get your thoughts on the Cleveland Cavaliers. The dream, it seems like, could be slowly fading as they go down 0-2 in that series.
Wow. I mean, what a comeback by Indiana. And obviously, Max Strus shot the ball fantastic last night, but he had that terrible turnover up 3. And then I thought that was a tough call that went against Donovan Mitchell when Halliburton drove down 3, and then he made 1 of 2, and they got the offensive rebound on the missed free throw. But I thought that was a tough call, and had they had a timeout left, they probably would have challenged it, and it might have got reversed, but they didn't have a timeout left. So that was obviously huge. And then Halliburton, what a shot. I loved it. I wish I could say I had the money line parlay 2 nights ago because the price was a lot better. But I did have the money line parlay last night with Golden State and the Pacers that it paid off handsomely. So I was quite excited about that comeback.
In regards to the other NBA moves and shakers in this playoff series, what are you thinking long term in regards to a potential champion in the NBA? Any futures there?
So when we were talking last week, I think, or maybe it was even 2 weeks ago, did I say the T-Wolves 17-1? I forget.
Yes, you
I
did.
feel like I said that on one show. Okay, yeah. And I wish I would have said Nuggets 35-1 because I did. I mean, just a little $20 bill, 20 spot, but
Right.
I did put 20 on the Nuggets at 35-1. They're all the way down to 13-1. I'm not saying they're going to beat OKC in the series. They're still huge underdogs. But let's see. Right now, I mean, you're missing the window, not getting the best of the number, but Pacers at 16-1 looks a little attractive. It was probably like 25-1 yesterday, I'm guessing. I didn't look yesterday, but that win last night, I'm sure, reduced the odds big time. Right now, I'm sitting on T-Wolves 17-1 and Nuggets 35-1 and feel pretty good about those. But if I had to add one today, it'd probably be Pacers 16-1.
Interesting. Brian Edwards continues to join us here on Three Man Front and giving us who he likes throughout the NBA playoffs and beyond. He joins us on the Higginbotham Hotline. A game tonight. Anything in particular that you've got your eye on?
Yeah, I'm going to go with both underdogs. I don't love them by any means because, they could both be content in getting the split. But gosh, and you hear a lot of people talk about the zigzag theory in the playoffs. Take the opposite result from game 1 and game 2. And I'm usually a believer in that. But man, these numbers are huge. I mean, double digits. And with Jokic, with apologies to SGA, I mean, Jokic is the best player on the court. 42 and 22 and 6 the other night. And I mean, I know they're not deep. Their bench isn't great, but 4 of the starters from the championship team, and now Braun is so improved from a couple years ago when they won it all. I mean, their starting 5 is really tough. And catching, or I haven't looked at it in a minute, is it still 10 or 10.5? I'm going to go with the Nuggets. I'm also going to go with the Knicks. I probably feel less confident in that one, but these double-digit dogs have been, or lucrative underdogs have been really good this week, and I'm going to stick with them tonight. Both underdogs. I'm not going to do a money line parlay tonight, but both underdogs catching double digits.
All right, let's talk a little NFL because the big story today is George Pickens being traded to the Dallas Cowboys. I'm just curious, what was the number for the Cowboys to win the Super Bowl before the trade for Pickens? Where it is now, is there any value to make a bet or wager on the Cowboys?
So it went from 60-1 to 44-1, but I don't think there's any value on the Cowboys. I think they're the third best team in the division, and will be fortunate to get a wild card, if that. So no, I don't think there's any value there. Where I do think there is value, however, is with the Commanders on the season win total. It's the only one I've played, and I went ahead and played it last week over 9.5. I got a -118 price. They've acquired Deebo Samuel. They added Josh Connerly, an offensive tackle, late first round out of Oregon. I mean, I like that position group. They're going forward to protect Daniels. In round 2, they got Trey Amos out of Ole Miss, a cover corner, and they're hoping Jalen Lane, a 4th-round pick at receiver, can contribute. And again, like I said, they got Deebo, but most importantly, they got my man Jaden Daniels. So over 9.5. The schedule's tough, but when I looked at it, I felt like they were going to win 11. So I went over 9.5. On a win total, I like to feel like I have a 1.5 game advantage. And going through the schedule, I thought 11-6. And maybe, possibly could do better. It's a pretty tough schedule, though. So over 9.5 on the Commanders.
Brian, I did want to ask you, stay with NFL, and let's go division futures. I'm looking currently right now, got the Steelers at +500 for the AFC North to win it next year. That would be behind the Ravens and also the Bengals. If they were to acquire an Aaron Rodgers, and I know you'd be shooting from the hip here, but how much would their odds change?
Well, I don't think a whole lot, because I think most people assume that's a given, or at least I do. Maybe I'm incorrect on that, but I think it's a given that he's going to be a Steeler unless he decides to retire. But I think he'll play, and I don't know why they got rid of Pickens, because you didn't get that much in return. I know he's a headache, but you only got a 3rd-round pick and then swapped a 5th and you swapped a 6th for a 5th in 2027. It's just not much of a return. I would have loved to have Pickens and Metcalf for Rodgers to play with. So I don't like Pittsburgh on their division. Again, I think they're the 3rd best team in that division behind the Bengals and the Ravens. But so that's where I'm at there.
So, my question was going to be, you kind of answered it there. If, and I've been looking, I can't find one. You might know one off the top of your head, but if you were to take the field or Aaron Rodgers retiring, you obviously would take the field. Do you think that he will come back and play for someone in 2025?
Yep. And I think it'll be the Steelers. Is that a bet that's available?
I was looking for one. No, I was looking for one. That's what I said. If you might have seen one. But I was just curious if you would take the field or you would say he would retire, and you think he'll absolutely play.
I think he'll be a Steeler, and I think it'll be announced fairly soon. But who knows with him? But it could be announced anytime between now and training camp, and I'm sure they'd be fine with it.
Yeah. That is Brian Edwards, Vegas Insider, joins us each and every Wednesday. Anything else, any MMA, anything else we should look at over the weekend?
I'll probably have some UFC picks on my Twitter here in the next day or two.
Okay.
I do think Luther Burden at 50-1 is worth a very small wager to be offensive rookie of the year.
Okay.
Went to the Bears. I like Jaden Daniels a lot better than Caleb Williams, but Caleb Williams had a pretty good rookie year, and I think Luther Burden, if he's healthy, and he's got his head on straight, I think he's as talented as any rookies in the league. And 50-1, just throw a small one out there.
Some good options.
What about Cam Ward? Over, under 12.5 interceptions?
Ooh, that sounds like an over to me if he plays enough games. Yeah, I think that's an over.
Okay. Firing in now.
He'll send you the ticket. All right, Brian. Well, listen, hope you have a good weekend. Hopefully, won't get too stormy down there on the beach, and we look forward to catching up with you next Wednesday.
Sounds good, fellas. You have a great week and weekend.
Thank you very much. That is Brian Edwards joining us on the Higginbotham Hotline. You deserve solutions that are built for you. Higginbotham is your one-source solution for insurance, financial, and HR services.
Conrad, you couldn't take 1 hour out of your debauchery to go and listen to that wisdom. He'd probably buy your dinner.
Probably would.
I was busy. As I was telling him, there were
Grab tailing with the guys.
Had to take care of some situations. Had to make sure people were safe and secure.
Wait, what?
Well, when someone throws up on a roof early on and
what?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
You can't just
happens to the best of us.
Throws up on a roof.
Off the air.
Molly, when you went to your bachelorette party about a month or so ago, did you have anybody throw up on the roof?
No, we did not. I don't think we had anyone throw up at all, actually.
See, responsible bachelorette
we were responsible.
party. Yeah. Welcome back. It's hour number 2 of Three Man Front on this Wednesday. Pat, Molly, Conrad, Landrum with you until 2 o'clock. Coming up later this hour, we will talk to Mike Newton from the Friends of Rickwood. Big announcement yesterday afternoon. Big event coming in the month of June. He will tell us all about it coming up, and tickets are now available at MLB.com. So we'll talk to him about that a little bit later this hour. Big story across the world of sports is George Pickens has been traded from the Pittsburgh Steelers to the Dallas Cowboys. Why it's a big story in these neck of the woods. George Pickens played at Hoover High School, and he played at the University of Georgia. It's very interesting because he had committed the whole time during his recruitment to Auburn University. And then something really strange happened on National Signing Day.
It was weird.
Changed his mind.
Yeah. Crazy.
Went to Georgia.
Yeah.
Very, very, very interesting.
Kirby saved that last
circumstances.
sales pitch right towards the very end.
The very end.
At least he didn't get the Auburn tattoo like someone else. That then ended up not going to
Well, you don't know that.
Auburn.
I
Well,
don't
I
know
guess
if he has he might have an Auburn tattoo.
maybe he does.
Like a really, really high on his thigh. Put it there just in case.
That's right. That's right.
So the Cowboys and Steelers had been working on a deal before the draft, and apparently the Cowboys weren't willing to give up some draft capital, but I guess Jerry Jones changed his mind. So they have now traded a 3rd-round pick in 2026 and a 5th-round pick in 2027 for the rights to George Pickens. Pickens has one more year left on his rookie deal, which is at $3.6 million. Very affordable.
Big year to prove it.
There's probably a lot of quarterbacks in college football this year that make more money than George Pickens in the National Football League.
Yeah, just imagine that. You could say right now the Duke quarterback will make more money than George Pickens this year.
That's crazy.
That's pretty wild. He'll also make more than the 49ers quarterback this year. It's weird.
But to be fair, now touchdown production hasn't been great. It hasn't been all his fault if you don't, or just gandered at their quarterback situation they've had. But he's got almost 3,000 yards in 3 seasons.
Yeah, he's averaging what, at least 800 yards a season?
Yeah.
I mean, he's really good
Interceptions?
considering they've had a whole lot of nothing thrown to him. He's very talented.
You got baby hands.
He did. He had baby hands. He had Russell Wilson.
You had, what's his name? Played at Georgia and Ohio State and the
Justin
Bears.
Fields.
Justin Fields.
Yep.
Who else did you have?
I think that's it.
Mason Rudolph.
Mason
I don't know
Rudolph.
if they overlapped or not, but he could have gone back and played with Mason Rudolph this year.
What a mess. One thing that's not a mess is Braves baseball right now. Last night on Jocks 94.5 on the Braves radio network, they took on the Cincinnati Red Stockings. This is the way it sounded. Big game last night.
There's the 2-2 line drive, base hit into right field. Fairchild hits the bag at second. Over to cut it off in the warning track, Fraley. Coming around third base, Fairchild. Here's the throw. He dives, and he's in there. Tie game. He had his pistons pumping around the base paths, and he scores from first, and the winning run's at second after the double by Michael Harris.
Stretching the pitch, swung on, hooked down the left field line, that ought to do it. Verdugo around third. He can just waltz home. And in fact, Marcelo Zuna does walk it off again. Braves win 2-1.
Michael Harris, the second, hit a tying double in the 9th. Marcelo Zuna, you just heard, singled home the winning run in the 10th. Chris Sale, fan 10 in 6 2/3 inning. He had the breaking ball stuff going nicely last night.
That's his second straight, Pat. Double-digit strikeout performance.
Sure
he's
did.
had.
Braves have now won 3 in a row. They've won 12 of their last 17. They close within a win of 500. The Reds have now lost 4 in a row. So tonight at 6 o'clock here on Jocks 94.5, Reds right-handed pitcher Hunter Green, who's very good, 4-2 with a 2.53 earned run average, coming off a 12 strikeout performance against Washington. He will try for his 3rd consecutive win as he starts tonight against right-handed pitcher Grant Holmes, who is 2-2 with a 4.24 ERA.
Braves only surrendering 5 runs in their last 3 games and 1 run over the last 19 innings against the Reds. So Hopefully it's all coming together. Hopefully.
So it's interesting because you guys are one game under 500.
Mm-hmm.
The Cardinals are one game under 500. We have now won 3 in a row. We go for a series sweep today in about an hour against the Pittsburgh Pirates. So last night, Paul Skeens was on the bump against the Cardinals. So Paul Skeens, in his professional career, he has lost a grand total of 7 times as a pitcher. 7 times he has taken the L. Against the St. Louis Cardinals, he is 0-4. The Cardinals have his number.
You got his number.
Isn't that amazing?
Mm-hmm.
4 of his 7 losses, he has never beaten the Cardinals.
What did Livy Dunn ever do to y'all?
I don't know.
I think it's Livy's favorite team, Cardinals.
Maybe so.
Maybe.
That's what it is.
He's playing to Livy.
Is that an amazing stat?
That is.
Mhm.
Y'all are the kryptonite.
You are.
So we go for the series sweep, and we'll be back at 500. So your team could be at 500.
We could be.
And my team could be back at 500.
Man, it has been a long
Molly,
road.
I
just
can't
to-
imagine
just
having to worry about that
sniff
kind of stuff.
500. No, you can't. Can you?
No.
Well, y'all
12-3.
finally won a game. Y'all had lost like 4 or 5 in a row, right?
Yeah, it was-
Till last
Aaron
night.
Judge got 12 home runs now. That's
He does.
impressive.
He's
You
still
beat up
hitting
on
like
the
800.
San Diego Padres.
That's impressive. Padres
Yeah.
are good, man. I was very happy last night watching that game.
But going back to the Braves, if they can at least take 3 out of 4, but then you go on the road, you take on those Pirates coming up this weekend. So tough when you start out 1-18.
And
get
speaking
back.
of the Pirates,
That's what it's felt
I
like.
read where the young gentleman that fell out of the stands is slowly improving.
Yeah, I think he
So it's
started
a-
walking
So that's
the other day.
that is good news, because that was, if you saw on social media that situation that took place, it was
Yeah, thank God it
Mhm.
wasn't what happened in
Yeah.
the Ranger Stadium.
Pat, when do the Yankees, when do they hit their what just happened slide? What part of the summer is it going to be?
It'll be either right before or right after the All-Star break.
Okay.
That's typically the last couple of years. It's been right before the All-Star break.
And you gave Boone an extension a couple years, right?
Yes. Yes.
Hmm.
Yes. Even though he lost us a game the other night, but it's okay. Not very good at managing the bullpen at times, but that's all right.
How's Maxie doing?
Oh, he's been lights out.
He'd win the Cy Young right now in the
Yeah.
AL.
Pretty good, isn't he?
Yeah, he is.
Yeah.
Him and Goldie have both been excellent acquisitions
Yeah.
for the Yankees.
Hmm.
I saw yesterday that apparently Yankees still aren't working on a deal for Arenado, but I guess they've been talking about it still, but no progress. So
Why don't you guys just go and play the Dodgers every day?
well, we
And-
did in the
and-
World Series last year, and that did not go very well for us. So
And we the other peasants of Major League Baseball will battle it out with our makeshift teams and our rental uniforms. You guys just have fun.
thank you.
Go and do it.
If you would like to get rid of a reliever, we will gladly trade you Giancarlo Stanton if you need some extra bats. I think one of his elbows is getting better now. The other one's still shot, but
Mm-mm. He's not a good fit for our clubhouse and our culture.
why? Because you want players that can actually, be on the field.
Yeah.
novel
We've got enough
concept.
guys that
You don't like paying guys $35 million to ride the pine?
No, we've done that. Are doing that in some cases. Maybe not 35 million.
So Auburn baseball will have a 3-game series this week against South Carolina at home. Not sure if many people have paid attention to this, but the Gamecocks are 5-19 under first-year head coach Paul Manera, who, of course, was at LSU, national championship winning, went to 5 World Series,
It was a big deal when they hired him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
5 College World Series, won the national championship, finished runner-up. So he went on our sister station in Columbia, 107.5 The Game. And there's been a lot of talk about the potential of South Carolina cutting ties with him after 1 year. So he goes on this radio station, and I'm going to read you the direct quote. Talking about this season. I had just underestimated the strength of the conference and how much better the conference has gotten in the last couple of years. The players are so much bigger and stronger and more experienced, older. We just have not been able to match up in some cases with them, end of quote.
Mm.
We're talking about an individual, SEC baseball has been extremely strong for a long time. This is not like SEC basketball that all of a sudden it exploded this year. This dude knows SEC baseball. And you went on a radio show and you said that you underestimated the strength of the conference. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, that's not what Ray Tanner and people at South Carolina, that's not what they want to hear. South Carolina will give you a long leash, and I would say almost every sport, but baseball is not going to be one of them.
Think about this. He is the head coach of a school that won a national championship in recent memory in baseball.
Well, I mean, it's like you said. I mean, the SEC, as far as I've been alive, the SEC's always been good at baseball.
It's not like basketball this year, where out of the blue, the SEC gets 14 teams in the NCAA tournament for the first time ever. SEC baseball has been tough for a very long time.
Maybe he forgot that Texas and Oklahoma were in it this year. Oh, man, we got Texas on our schedule this year? What?
And they also...
Tennessee's good now?
What? So not in this interview, but another interview, somebody asked him about his job security, and he said, nobody's talked to me about my job security.
Yeah, because they're talking about how to get you out of there behind your back, probably.
I mean, surely he structured a deal where it was guaranteed.
I don't think they're going to get rid of him.
No.
But
that's doubly tough because they have had success there. And that would be like someone coming in and taking over for Don Staley and laying an egg.
So 5-19, and they're coming to Auburn this weekend.
Yeah, Auburn needs to get a sweep. If Auburn can win 5 out of 6, then you're looking at 18 conference wins, and Alabama's having a great season as well. If Alabama can do the same, 18 out of 30 in this conference.
It's remarkable.
That's pretty strong.
Be very strong. But when I saw those comments, I was like going, dude, what are you doing?
I mean, was he not at LSU when South Carolina was winning national championships? Was he not around at the same time?
Very, very well familiar.
When you're taking, but I just cannot imagine, especially a job in that scope where Paul Maneri is not networking, talking. He's been watching baseball, right, for the last couple of seasons.
Do you not think he talked to some coaches before taking the job of like, hey, what's the landscape like?
It's not like he just came back from a mission trip overseas. And they planted him there and said, hey, welcome back to the States. Welcome back. Hey, by the way, let's catch you up. Let's give you a crash course on what's been going on in intercollegiate athletics. Kids are getting paid now, and they're getting paid crazy amounts. These are the guys that you have at your disposal through the portal. It was a terrible answer. Even if it was honest, it was a terrible, terrible answer for the people who have invested that you're going to get their program back.
Well, it's not like you got hired by a program that doesn't have expectations or history of winning either, right? Yeah. Like they brought you in there to take South Carolina back to College World Series. And
well, here's the other issue that why this is coming to a head now is because as we talked about earlier this year, we haven't spent a lot of time talking about SEC baseball, but the Florida baseball program was struggling big time. Okay. So they play South Carolina this previous weekend. The first game of the series, Florida beat them 22-3.
Nah.
And then they followed that up by winning 8-0 in games 2 and 3. So I think that's why South Carolina fans were like, okay, it's not like we played Texas this weekend. We played Florida.
That's an old school Florida, South Carolina football game, 38-3. Over 3 games, they outscored them 38-3.
The losses dropped the Gamecocks to 26-23 overall, 5-19 in the SEC. So the only feasible path for South Carolina to make the NCAA tournament is obviously winning in Hoover.
Which, as we talked about yesterday, very well may be harder than actually winning a College World Series because of how competitive the tournament's going to be.
South Carolina has won 2 national championships in baseball.
I mean, they were the program in college baseball in the early 2010s.
But they have not been to Omaha since 2012. So it's been a minute.
Yeah, a little bit's changed. Might not have the recruiting edge that you used to have.
Shane Beamer's taking too much of that NIL.
They would, if they fired him right now, they would owe him $5.2 million.
Whew, if I'm him, send me on my way.
I'll lose 23-2 to Florida again.
Yep.
Yeah.
Go ahead, stroke me that check. I'm out.
This will pay off that giant boat that I bought for retirement and then realized I need a little bit more money.
That's right.
Fire
Maybe
me.
this was his plan all along to come
Fire
back,
me!
get the buyout because he needed more retirement.
It was a long-term deal because he makes $1.3 million a year, which is for a national championship winning baseball coach. It's a good bargain.
Yep. But gone are the days where it was just you and Vanderbilt at the top of the conference. There's other teams that have things at their disposal, and they like to win too.
Yes. But you do have to wonder about how much is now going towards football NIL as opposed to baseball.
Well, and how much has that changed in the last 12 months, right?
Mm-hmm.
Probably a lot of it. Lenore Sellers wasn't cheap.
No. And how much will it change in the next 12 months after we finally get some resolution?
Yeah.
Well, speaking of the SEC baseball tournament, you need to head down to Hoover to check out our friends at Big Whiskeys. They have several big screens in their bar. They also have unique cocktails and over 120 whiskeys on tap. Plus, hopefully the weather isn't looking too bad, so you can go out and enjoy the outdoor patio in their game area. It's great for families, and the kids get to eat free on Tuesdays. So like I said, during this SEC baseball tournament coming up, go check out Big Whiskeys in the Stadium Trace Village off Highway 150.
1-800-239-WJOX, the Courtesy GMC text line. We will get to your text messages next at 205-834-9450. Mike Newton, friends Rickwood, joins us at the bottom of the hour. 11:20, Jocks 94.5. We're going to find out about this special event going on June 19th at Rickwood Field. Mike Newton from the Friends of Rickwood, he's going to join the program. At the bottom of the hour, we'll get the details on this very special event that you can go to MLB.com and purchase tickets coming up. It's a star-studded event at Rickwood Field. We'll have more about that coming up.
Text coming in on the Jocks text line, 205-834-9450. We promise we read all of your texts. We don't agree with all of them. A lot of them, well, some of them we cannot read on the air, but we read them all, and we appreciate your interaction every single day. We start here. Can we get an update on Conrad's thoughts about Verdugo getting called up in Atlanta? Haven't heard much since he laughed hysterically at the move.
Yeah, unfortunately, fortunately for y'all, turned out pretty well so far. He's hitting over 300, so I gotta give him credit.
Let him grow out that beautiful red beard.
Some people
look what happens.
Some people just can't handle the pressure of playing in the big city, so it's all right. The Big Apple's intimidating. I get it.
He has been a welcomed addition in that clubhouse with what he brings every single day.
Been a leader.
He's been a leader. You guys don't recognize leadership. Nope.
He honestly might be a franchise cornerstone now. Y'all should sign him to a 10-year deal. Keep him locked up.
He's got his beard and he's happy. His equilibrium was off because those stupid rules. I think that's probably what spawned the move. Why Steinbrenner had a change of heart.
I just like that the Yankees changed their beard policy for Devin Williams, and he comes over and his ERA is now 10. So that was a smart move by the franchise. That's what happens when you bend the knee.
Is Goldie sporting his beard?
No, he's been clean shaven. Every
He?
time I've seen him. Yeah. Well, it's working well for him.
Good dude. I'm happy for him.
Let's go back to Paul Skeens.
No, I mean that.
No,
I'm not being a smartass. I'm like being serious.
No, he seems like a really stand-up guy, and everybody in the locker room loves him.
He's a first-class individual, did a lot for charities. His family, he's a family guy. I hated the fact that
It's a shame that he has to go and play
for the Yankees.
Yeah, that inherently is evil.
Hopefully we don't corrupt him too much. No promises. I do hate that we only have him for 1 year, though. Because if he plays like this, he's going to get himself a nice little 2 or 3 year deal.
Yeah.
Sodom, Gomorrah, Bronx.
The triad.
The trifecta.
That's right. Going back to Paul Skeens and how he's allergic to the Cardinals. In Skeens starts against the Cards, he has gotten a total of 5 runs of support, Pat. Skeens has given up very little against the Cards. Thankfully, our starters in those games have outpitched him.
Last I checked, all that matters is if you get a W or L.
When does he pitch again?
5 days.
We don't get him.
We
get a Sunday start with him?
That's what I was trying to do in my head earlier when you were talking about the Pirates. I was like, I think you'll get him the last game of the series.
Sunday.
Okay. How about them Yankees last night? Yeah, we talked about it. Congratulations. Great win.
He says it was such great feeling.
Was it 12-3? That was the final?
Yeah, it wasn't going well, and then the Yankees scored 8 runs in the 7th inning, I believe it was.
I love seeing Mike Schilt get fired up.
Austin.
We should have never fired him. He was a lifetime Cardinal.
He was done wrong.
He was done wrong.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I did enjoy watching Tatis try to throw out Bellinger at third and just sending it straight into the stands and giving us a
And then
run.
when Tatis got thrown out, I mean, I like the way Tatis did it. You know, he said what he did. And he just turned around, walked away. Now Mike Schilt came out, threw his glasses, threw his lineup card.
Okay, and we're going to get back to a conversation. If you missed it earlier in the show, Conrad lays out that he had a buddy on his bachelor party, whatever. I got something else I'd like to call it, but we won't do it.
It's a bachelor trip.
Bachelor trip. Posey says, why are we on the roof? Drunk?
No, okay, so we were at an Irish pub in Destin, and there's a rooftop like bar part of it, and that's where we were. And my friend, unfortunately, fortunately, he leaned over the railing. Otherwise, it would.
Did they see him throwing up?
The workers?
Yeah.
No, he was pretty discreet about it. We were the only ones that saw it, but
there's an art to that.
Now, are you the type person that when you see someone throw up, then you throw up?
No, fortunately not. I got him some water.
If you're highly inebriated, you probably don't care.
No.
So when you were dry heaving out back on the fish and Landrum was dry heaving, that didn't bother you?
No, that did not. Well, the fish did, but no, not Landrum.
There's a smell. It's not seeing someone get sick.
The smell is the worst part.
Yeah.
Molly didn't gag?
If I catch a whiff, it's over.
It smelled bad, but no, I was okay.
Yeah. Molly was strong, unlike you two clowns.
I had some tears in my eyes. I stayed strong.
I strained a tonsil.
You busted a blood vessel in your eye.
What I loved is Bill Clark was sitting there. He's standing there right next to me, and he never checked up.
No,
not one time.
Not at all.
He's seen far worse. I'm sure.
I'm sure he has too. We'll ask him that on the podcast.
Put your helmet on, Roberts. Get back in there. Let's go.
He was not phased one bit.
More of your text that we will get to later on in the program. Thank you.
Mike Newton's going to join us coming up in a couple minutes. We'll get the details on this very special event that was announced yesterday afternoon by Major League Baseball at Rickwood. That's all next. 3-Man Front. Remember last year at this time, we were all fired up getting ready for the Rickwood game. The Cardinals and the Giants and the Montgomery Biscuits taking on the Birmingham Barons at a refurbished Rickwood field. We were so blessed to be the only radio show in the country, the only media outlet to broadcast live for that week of the games. It was fantastic. One of the highlights of at least my career of being able to do
doubt.
that.
We are so blessed to be able to do what we do, not only on a daily basis, but some of the things that we get to be a part of. But that was definitely on my Mount Rushmore.
It was cool.
And it will remain there.
Yeah. Major League Baseball was outstanding. The Friends of Rickwood, needless to say, the friendship that we have had with them over the years, and just Gerald Watkins and Mike Newton and Joe DeLeonard and all the fine people there at that organization have done so much over the years. And
Mike's all right.
And then because he's a Yankees fan.
Yeah.
Are they going to stop having this?
I like him more than I do Conrad.
This New York Yankee Love Fest.
I mean,
so
look
we
at
can
him.
get him on the show.
Look at him. Yeah.
Like you got his number. You can talk to him later.
Yeah.
About
We were talking
back
business.
later.
We were talking big business.
big business. Okay. Mike Newton joins us
Y'all
from the
putting
Friends
a
of
hit out
Rickwood.
on Giancarlo Stanton? Is that what we're doing now? Hey, Mike.
Landrum, I heard y'all taking shots at our Yankees.
Yeah, that's Landrum. Landrum hates the Yankees.
Oh, I know. I think it goes back to his childhood, Pat. I think he was just, he saw those early World Series maybe, and I think he just hasn't gotten over that.
Is that
Don Mattingly worked for my uncle, or with my uncle in Evansville, Indiana, before he became big. And I have a Mattingly rookie plaqued framed card. I would watch Yankee games just for the sake of Don Mattingly.
Don Mattingly.
And they were terrible. Terrible.
You know what my oldest son's name is? It's Matt. And he wore 23 through Little League.
Nice.
How about that? That's
nice.
neat.
I do have respect for the organization. It just they're spending. They have gotten a lot of our good players over the years, but everybody else in Major League Baseball can say that too.
And by the way, I have two grandsons. The first one's named Austin. The second one's named Wells, the catcher for the Yankees. What about that?
Oh, wow.
Oh,
Man, we're already
Crazy.
naming them after
Crazy.
Austin Wells. That's high praise after a year and a half.
Wow.
And I promise you, it just happened to fall that way because Austin Wells had not even made it to the majors. But it's like it was meant to be, The Yankee gods look down upon people like Conrad and I.
Wow. Well,
That's right, Mike.
well, behind the New York Yankees, you can go ahead and tell the world what franchise has the second most World Series championships.
It would be your Cardinals.
That is correct.
Yes, it would.
That is correct. Big news coming out yesterday, Mike, and I was really looking forward to you joining us today to kind of tell the world, if they did not see the press release, about the second annual East-West Classic and Home Run Derby that is coming to Birmingham. Tell us all about it.
Yeah, and Pat, if you don't mind, let me first mention we just had our Willie Mays Day at Greystone.
Yeah.
We had some great former baseball players come in. They were just fantastic. We just, our sponsors were just so supportive of what we did out there. On Monday, we had a great weather day. And just real quick, I'm going to throw a trivia question at you guys. And I know you guys are good at this. Can you name one of the two players that have played both in a Final Four and a World Series? Any takers on that?
Oh, I think me and Landrum were actually talking about this about a month ago. And
There's two of them, but I took one to the airport this morning early.
Huh. Landrum got any guesses? What? I know. I think I know.
All right.
Kenny Lofton.
Yep.
That's
Kenny played for Arizona.
Yep.
He played in 3 World Series. And then Tim Stoddard,
Okay.
a lesser name,
wouldn't have
pitched
gotten
for
that
the
one.
Baltimore Orioles. Yeah. Pitched for the Orioles.
Who did Stoddard go to the Final Four with?
Wasn't he with a ACC school maybe?
Was he?
I don't know.
Was it NC State?
Yeah. I don't know. Hey, another
NC
thing.
State in '74, according to Molly. Yeah, Molly.
There
got
you
it.
go.
Yep.
There you go. Molly's always on top of it.
Yep.
Man.
He had a beautiful
so,
beard back in the day.
Yeah. Another thing I want to mention, this was really cool. So I'm taking Kenny and Tori. I don't mean to be a name dropper, but this is just cool. I'm taking them, Tori Hunter, I'm taking them back to the airport real early this morning. We start talking about Tori's catch in the 2002 All-Star game.
Mm-hmm.
I think Barry Bonds hit it center field, and Tori just made an unbelievable play. And Kenny says, "You know what else happened in 2002, don't you, Mike?" I said, "Give me a hint." He says, "World Series." And I said, "No." I said, "Okay, the Giants played the Angels," but I couldn't think where he was going with it. And you remember the game where Dusty Baker's little kid almost got run over?
Absolutely. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. JT Snow picked him up. Of course, Kenny reminded me of all this, but Kenny's the one that hit the triple that got the runner to almost run over.
Oh, wow.
Dusty Baker's son. Yeah, and get this. Here you go. It's going to make you feel old. Dusty Baker's son now is in the major leagues with the Nationals.
What?
That's crazy.
That little guy that almost got run over, he's made it to the bigs.
That's amazing. Very cool.
Anyway, on to Rickwood. Yes. So about 4 weeks ago, we had our friends from New York City come down, Major League Baseball, and met with Gerald and I. And we initially they kind of gave us a hint as to why they were coming down. And they brought a team of about 10 to 12 folks, and we did things over 2.5 days. And yeah, we were excited. First of all, we were a little bit concerned. You know, we have a pretty booked calendar coming up. We got the SWAC tournament in a couple weeks at the ballpark, and then we got the Barons playing the Rocket City Trash Pandas on June 4th. But yeah, on June 19th, we're going to have the East-West Hall of Fame Classic game at Rickwood. And what I love about it most, I don't know if you've seen the price of the tickets, so they're only $12. And it's going to be very affordable. It's going to be general admission. I think Major League Baseball is going to reserve some of the box seats, not all of them, but pretty much it's going to be first come, first serve. And got a great lineup of former All-Star players coming. I'll first list the former Yankees. We got Nick Swisher, CC Sabathia, Curtis Granderson, and I'm missing one more. But anyway, we got Andrew Jones Landrum is coming. Gary Sheffield. Jake Peavy. Jake was at our tournament on Monday, and we were talking about it. And he said he's going to pitch, and he said he hasn't thrown anything seriously for about 3 months, but he's going to pitch in the game.
Now, Jake still has a big ranch in South Alabama, does he not?
He does.
Yeah.
He does. And of course, he does a lot of work for the MLB network. And the night before, he was over in Atlanta. I think he was helping with the ESPN radio broadcast, because he said he was driving over from Atlanta late after that game. The Braves won that one, right, Landrum? I think Sunday night.
Yes, we did.
Yeah.
Yep, 4-3.
That was a good series. Yeah. So anyway, the game's going to be on a Thursday at 1:00. There's going to be a home run derby before the actual game, which that's going to be fantastic. That's going to be exciting. Ryan Howard's coming. I don't know if Ryan's going to hit in the home run derby. I would think he's still young enough to do it. The Upton brothers are coming.
Nice.
Jake. You remember the Hairston family?
Oh, yeah.
The two Hairston, Sam Hairston is originally from Birmingham, Black Baron, and his two grandsons, how cool is that, are going to play in the game. They played with the Orioles and White Sox and a few other teams. So, and I know I'm leaving a number of other players out, but what I would tell you, the listening audience, is just go to MLB.com and I'll look under events and then Rickwood, and it'll show you the faces of those that are coming to the ballpark, and we're just totally excited about it. It's going to be a great day.
Andrew Jones was a great guy. We got to meet him. We had a live show at Julio Jones car dealership there in Tuscaloosa.
Yeah.
And got to hang out with
and,
Andrew.
And he's another one, Landrum, that's got a son in professional. His son, I believe, is playing single A or double A right now. But
was he the number one pick a year or two ago?
He was, yeah. So look for that name. He's in the Diamondback minor league system.
Yeah, I'm sitting here looking
But,
at the two rosters. Obviously, from the East, Michael Bourne, Dexter Fowler, Curtis Granderson, Jerry Hairston Jr., Ryan Howard. Ryan Howard in last year's inaugural game at Doubleday Field, I think he had a 3-run homer that was the game winner, if I'm not mistaken. Edwin Jackson, relief pitcher. Mentioned Andrew Jones, Jake Peavy, Xavier Scruggs, who you see on the MLB Network, Gary Sheffield, Justin Upton, Chris Young. That's on the East. On the West, you've got names like Mike Cameron, Prince Fielder, LaTroy Hawkins, Adam Jones. Adam Jones had an incredible catch in the World Baseball Classic. I think two renditions back in center field. LaTroy Hawkins, Jason Kendall. He was a great hitting catcher for both the Pirates and the A's. CC Sabathia, Nick Swisher, BJ Upton. So yeah, this is
it's really impressive.
Yeah, this is an impressive list of guys that's going to be there at Rickwood.
Yeah, and we're hoping for a nice day, just like we had for our little golf event. And by the way, our golf event was celebrating Willie Mays' birthday.
Yeah,
which was yesterday, May 6th, and it was a fantastic time. But yeah, going back, the other thing I'll mention to people, I know we're getting some questions from the ballpark about parking. Our general admission parking area will not have exhibits on it like we did for the big game last year. So we're kind of waiting for Major League Baseball. They surveyed that property, see how many cars we can fit and everything. We still may provide a shuttle service either from the Crossplex or Legion Field that day. So that's kind of up in the air at this time.
Mike, I know for the Major League Baseball game, I think the attendance, or I guess the max was around 9 to 10. Are we looking at that number for this event?
We hope so. Yeah, actually, the capacity at the ballpark is around 8,500. But and I know some people from the Major League game, they were saying we saw a lot of empty seats. Well, a lot of those seats they were over in the hospitality booth watching the game from a couch and big screen TV.
By the way, Mike, that's where we were.
Were you really?
Yeah,
you had a better.
Yeah, we had a. It was a. Let's just say it helped out knowing a good man by the name of Gerald Watkins, who was able to point us in the right direction. And Landrum had a really nice conversation with one of the security ladies. And
well, see, that explains. See, you guys were the issue. Why there was empty seats and people were saying, fault. "Why didn't you sell those tickets?" Yeah.
That was us.
But no, everything. Yeah.
we were eating finger foods with CC Sabathia.
I know, man. You're hobnobbing. Yeah. Well, at least it was CC and not, from the Yankee bloodline. So anyway, we're really excited that CC's a huge part of this, and he's going to be inducted a month later at Cooperstown. I mean, it's like I'm sure his schedule is just
busy
crazy
summer
right now.
Yeah.
And then we got both Andrew Jones and Gary Sheffield. They to me they should both be in the Hall of Fame. That's for somebody else to argue and.
Well, the other cool thing about this is, and correct me if I'm wrong, but the game's only going to be 5 innings. And it will last 2 hours. So it's so 2 hours. You're going to be out of there. So it's either you're going to play a 5-inning game, right, or 2 hours, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then of course on the front end is the home run derby, which starts at 12. So you'll at least get 3 solid hours of good entertainment from these guys that just had such great careers in Major League Baseball.
And Mike, for those that may not know the history of the East-West Classic, it came back last year in Cooperstown. But this was a very popular event amongst the Negro leagues, dating back from 33 to 62. I think I read that right.
Yes, it was their way. Of course, at that time, Major League Baseball was having their own version of the All-Star game, and this is how the Negro League celebrated their All-Stars year after year, and it moved around. I know it was in Chicago for a while, and then it's bumped around to different cities, but. CC, I'll tell you, he is such a fan of Rickwood, and I'm like, yeah, why wouldn't you be? But he's like, he would like to have this thing grow roots here. So we'll see what happens.
Well, Mike, we always appreciate because typically when you come on, you've got a big announcement or two, and we're excited about this. The event will take place on June 19th. You can go to MLB.com. Matter of fact, Molly has just tweeted out a direct link if you want to purchase tickets. They're only $12, and there's not a bad seat in that place. Me and my family, we sit down the right field line during the Barons and the Biscuits game. And it was incredible. It was awesome. So it doesn't matter where you sit at Rickwood, you're going to have a good view.
Yeah, I appreciate Molly doing that. Probably the most calls we get at the ballpark when we announce something like this is, can I come down there and buy tickets? Yeah, and once again, Major League Baseball is the one that's kind of driving that. And it's funny, yesterday I was playing golf with some of the guys that stayed over, and I was in the cart with Mike Mays, and I just hit a shot, and Mike yelled out to me. He said, "Hey, your phone's blowing up." and I walked to the cart and said, "By the way, they just made the announcements." I said, "Well, there you go. That's why the phone's going." But yeah, I mean, we'll certainly answer any call. We love people to give us a holler. But yeah, but the tickets are primarily, it's all going through MLB, and they're very affordable. We're looking for a sellout crowd.
Mike, we always appreciate the time. Sounds like another great event. We know it will be first class, and we appreciate you joining us, even though you're a Yankees fan.
All right. Well, maybe your teams can get above 500 pretty soon.
Maybe so.
And join.
Maybe today's the day for me and Landrum.
Maybe we'll find an extra 200 million that we can add to our roster.
All right. Thank you guys and
Thanks,
Molly
Mike.
for what y'all do.
Thank you, Mike.
See ya.
Appreciate you.
Mike Newton joining us on the Higginbotham Hotline from the Friends of Rickwood. You deserve solutions that are built for you. Higginbotham is your one-source solution for insurance, financial, and HR services.
We will get to more of your text. A little college football news, though, coming out of the state of Florida. We'll get to that as well. Do it next. 3-Man Front and Jocks, 94.5.
8 minutes in front of the hour. Appreciate Mike Newton joining us, telling us the big story, the big news. The second annual East-West Classic and Home Run Derby, June 19th at Rickwood Field. You can go to the Three Man Front Twitter page, and we have a link there that you can just click on. $12 per ticket. So let's sell this thing out on a beautiful, cool June 19th day in Birmingham, Alabama.
That's what I'm talking about. Yep. That's when it starts feeling like fall.
Yes. It's like when you go out to the mailbox to put a letter in the mail. It's that smell of fall, autumn right around the corner. Football's about to be kicked off.
Yes. Yeah. Nice and cool. Maybe it'll be okay. Well, look, we're used to it by now, right? We're weathered to it. Told you some news coming out of college football, specifically the state of Florida in the SEC. Florida football's starting cornerback Dijon Johnson apparently was arrested on May the 2nd in Tampa and faces 4 charges, including felony possession of a controlled substance, possession of cannabis less than 20 grams, resisting arrest without violence, and possession of a firearm during commission of a felony, according to the Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office. He was arrested by Tampa police. He was booked in the early morning hours of May the 3rd. And police apparently pulled him over. He became argumentative with officers, according to the report, during the traffic stop after running a stop sign. Police detected a strong odor from the car. He was asked several times to exit the vehicle. He refused to comply. After several orders to exit the vehicle, he was removed from it and placed into custody. A backpack was located during the search. Inside the backpack, marijuana was located along with 8 grams of synthetic marijuana. Both substances tested positive. And also inside the trunk, a black Glock 19. The handgun was loaded with 17 rounds in the magazine, none in the chamber. He appeared in all 13 games for the Gators as a sophomore. He made 5 starts and finished the season with 25 tackles, 2 breaks. All of that being said, do you think that he plays this season?
Yes.
Of course.
If there's any doubt.
Is he a contributor?
Yes.
Yes, he will play.
I got some great NIL ideas.
Now's not the time to get morals, Billy. Not this year.
No.
A lot on the line this year. Let it go.
And this brings me back to Akron's coach, Joe Moe. You couldn't get those guys to just...
I mean, they need to go hire better tutors for their athletics department, don't you think?
Well, you're assuming they have them.
Well, that's true. They might not have
Well,
them.
true. We got budget cutbacks everywhere.
Maybe they can poach them from LeBron's school that he opened there in Akron.
Yeah, if you missed what we were talking about, earlier today it was announced that Akron, because we're all Akron Zips football fans.
Zippy the Kangaroo.
Yep.
Sitting there in my office.
They will be ineligible. Not that they were going to be good enough to go to a bowl game. They were 4-8 last year. But their academic progress report was 914. You have to score at least 930 to be eligible for postseason activities. The average score for Division I teams last year in college football was 984. They scored 914.
And probably some of those guys who did not contribute to getting that over the threshold of where they need to be, they got plucked out of the portal and probably starting for somebody else's college football team this year.
Yep.
Where they have the academics figured out, air quotes.
Yeah. But I'm like you. I mean, 914.
Yeah, virtual learning. 3/4 of the battle was just getting to class. Once you got there, all you had to do was just pay attention.
When you were in college, did you have any athletes in a lot of your classes?
Yes.
Did they attend?
Yes.
I guess I should ask.
I would see coaches.
Did you attend?
I did. Well, yeah. After
Better question.
After 2 quarters, I did. And I got pulled from campus by the parents. They said, "Yep, you're not going to be told to go home by the school after you continue this horrible trend. You're going to go and work manual labor for 6 months in the middle of nowhere with a bunch of guys from work release, who, by the way, taught me a lot. And when I went back to school, never made below a 3.0. And I appreciated every single moment of it.
That's how you turn it around.
That was my aha moment. And learned a lot about prison. It's not a place you want to go. 12 o'clock hour comes your way next here on Three Man Front.
It is hour number 3, three-man front, Jocks 94.5, Landrum, Molly, Conrad, Pat, with you until 2 o'clock.
Tittles.
A little bit of basketball news to pass along. Louisville transferred power forward James Scott. He visited Auburn over the weekend. He has now committed to Ole Miss, so he will not be a member of the Auburn Tiger basketball team. He is heading to Oxford.
Saw some of our friends there at On 3 that cover Auburn, according to people that they had talked to, that his ask NIL-wise did not equate to their evaluation.
Makes sense.
So they decided that they would look elsewhere. But, hey, Oxford's a beautiful place. It's a really good basketball program now that Chris Beard is in charge.
How much did he cost you, Pat?
Go get you some.
I don't know. He's 7-1. He was the top remaining player in the transfer portal. Sure was a pretty good amount of money.
You have to take out that second mortgage now?
Started his career at College of Charleston, followed Pat Kelsey to Louisville.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Averaged 7 points and 6 rebounds. That was going to be one of those guys that Auburn was considering to try to replace on the post. So
7-1 though. Whew. That'll work.
So now he will be in Oxford, Mississippi.
I guess he'll be the tallest person now in Oxford, Mississippi. That'd be kind of cool. Be the tallest person in the town city that you live in.
I think it's time for Pearl to go European.
Go find the next Luca or something.
Yeah. If his last name sounds like Ishus or Itch or
Ickes.
Yep.
Go get them.
Go get them. Yeah.
We had a very interesting Twitter poll question today, Molly, and it had to do with SEC coaches across the platform. It doesn't matter. It's not just football or basketball. It's any SEC coach. Very interesting, but I could see this coming down First Avenue, what the results were going to be.
Yeah, so the question is, which non-Alabama or Auburn head coach do you love to see lose in the SEC? Is it Coach Cal at Arkansas? Is it Lane Kiffin at Ole Miss? Is it Kim Mulkey at LSU? Or Tony Vitello at Tennessee? And right now winning with 44.3% is the head coach of the Tennessee Volunteers baseball team, Tony Vitello.
Shocking.
Man, he's lost some ground since the beginning of the show, though.
Yeah, it was running around like 50% at the beginning of the show, but it has come down almost 6 percentage points.
I was going to be heartbroken if the people had voted Mulkey.
She's in second, though.
Yeah, 24%.
Mm-hmm.
That's who I voted for.
You voted for Mulkey? Why?
I can't stand her.
What?
Cannot stand her.
I love her outfits.
Oh,
I do too.
Yes.
no.
They're so fun.
She's got charisma.
She does.
She does.
Yeah.
And I don't like it.
The personality, it is time to bring personalities back to the sideline. And she's got it. She's got all that.
She got something.
Mm-hmm. And she wins.
She does. Well, not this year, but in the past.
I've been working on a Kim Mulkey.
Really?
Mm-hmm. I'm going to try to break it out basketball season early this year. Is that allowed? Can I do that?
Why would you not be allowed
As a man, can I do that?
Sure.
in this day and
I
age?
was about to say,
I'm
you
just
could do
asking Molly.
anything.
I'm not asking you to. Molly, is that okay?
Yes.
You could dress up like Kim Mulkey if you wanted to.
That would be
Who
better.
says he doesn't?
Who says I don't?
When you're watching those LSU basketball games at home,
I'll FaceTime Pat and be like, look, does this make my hips look big?
I say I can't see you because the sequins are blinding me on the FaceTime.
Golly, man, she got some sequence.
It's bedazzled.
What do you think? Do you think that do you think that comes out of her salary, her paycheck, or is that some designer somewhere like, hey, let's put Kim in this?
I don't know. She might have a wardrobe budget because I know a lot of big wigs on ESPN that you see on television, they have a wardrobe stipend.
Yeah.
and it could be from a, like you're saying, you know, for example, they had the what was the event they had the other night, the Met Gala.
Mhm.
Like all the celebrities, they'll wear some famous brand, and the designers will give it to them as a way to promote that brand. So maybe she has a deal cut out with them where.
I actually have seen a video package on this individual that does all of her styling.
So I found it. Kim Mulkey gets a lot of her clothes from a Baton Rouge designer named Jamie Glass. She owns the clothing line. It's called Queen of Sparkles.
Mm-hmm. That's what I'm talking about.
That is very fitting.
Jamie Glass, Queen of Sparkles. There, it just popped right up. There it is. About the Queen. Jamie Glass Odom. Let me check out their line.
Definitely a lot of sparkles.
Yep.
Very Kim Mulkey clothing.
But she could. I mean, you still have some coaches that wear sport coats in college basketball. Just saying that she could cross over to male coaches.
So they have licensed game day clothing as well. It looks like for all the SEC schools, they've got Kansas on here. They've got Oklahoma State.
This is the store in Baton Rouge?
Yeah, this is Queen of Sparkles.
So I wonder if this is who she used at Baylor as well. And maybe it just kind of carried over.
You ask who is the queen? While dressed head to toe in gold to watch the LSU Tigers play, a little girl tugged at Jamie's skirt and asked, "Excuse me, miss, are you the Queen of Sparkles?" There, her title was born.
Well, according to the listeners of Three Man Front,
Pat, this would look so cute on you.
She is the second most popular coach to lose in the Southeastern Conference, behind Tony Vitello.
Oh my goodness!
Do you think Tony Vitello would have this big of a lead if we did this poll a week ago, before what happened with Auburn?
Yeah, I'd be interested to get. Landry might not have seen it because he was knee deep in sand at the beach. But
Working.
Did you see the whole Tony Vitello Auburn back and forth? Did you see that?
No.
It was disgusting, Landrum. It was probably the most violent thing I've ever seen on a baseball field.
That's
abhorrent.
I know that there's been history with bat flips between those two programs before.
Give him the quick Cliff Note version.
Give it to me.
Essentially, they
Give
had
us the Alabama version of this story.
Yeah, I want
well,
the
it's great
Tiger
because I hate
Insider
both of
version.
the other programs, so I'm actually am unbiased in this.
You were full of hate.
I am. So you had a game that had gotten carried over for a rain delay. So it was an extra innings, and Auburn, they were just trying to end the game and get to the real game, I guess. But anyways, Auburn guy tries to steal home, gets tagged out at home by the Tennessee pitcher. The Tennessee pitcher, I guess, kind of aggressively tagged him, right? It wasn't just a little tag. It was more of like a forceful a little bit. And so it caused the benches to clear, and there was a big fight or not a big fight, but, players jawing at each other on the field. And so a lot of the Auburn fans were very upset because they thought that the Tennessee player had intentionally shoved the Auburn player when he was tagging him out and had said some nasty comments. And so they were getting upset about that.
I'm not, well, I haven't seen it, but I can see where aggressive play at the plate, you're trying to secure the ball.
It wasn't very aggressive though, but
I can see where that was not the intent to be malicious on the Tennessee player's part. I didn't see it. Now the dirty words, that happens everywhere.
Yeah.
In competitive athletics.
Yeah, the actual physical part of what Conrad just discussed, that was a joke.
It was nothing.
It was absolutely nothing. Now, what was said between the two, I could see the umpires trying to get a hold of the situation before it got escalated even further for the rest of the game.
It felt pretty obvious that this was some bad blood maybe that had carried over from the bat flip incident you were talking about.
But Tony Vitello was already in a bad mood to begin with. I mean, he's always in a bad mood, but he was already had a chip on his shoulder because one, Tennessee had lost two weekend series at home before Auburn came and then gave him his third series loss at home.
He's lucky he didn't get swept by Auburn.
And he was also upset because Friday night, and I do agree with him on that.
They shouldn't have played the game.
They should not have started that game. So they played a half inning and he wasted his pitcher on Friday night, and then the game gets rained out. Like there was no business starting that game.
Yeah. And
Auburn jumped out to a 2-0 lead, and then he burns a pitcher.
Yep.
Because they don't come back. So yeah, I would have been ticked off too for the weekend. That was horrible job by the Southeastern Conference umpiring crew. Had no business starting that game. So he was already in a mood, and then all that took place. So yeah.
And if I'm remembering correctly, after that incident I was telling you about, the Tennessee guy got ejected, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Which was, but we don't know what he said. So
Ross Dellinger is reporting from Yahoo that a new NCAA Division I governance model is now being shared with executives. The proposed model streamlines the NCAA committees. It shrinks them. It eliminates some of the committees, but most notably grants the 4 Power 4 conferences 51%, as much as 65% weighted voting privileges. This is huge. So this falls right in line with what we've been discussing and predicting, that the SEC and the Big Ten, especially in college football, are going to have more power than everybody else. Well, now the NCAA is streamlining their governance, where the Power 4 is going to have anywhere between 51 and 65% power over things that are being decided at the NCAA level. So that is great news if you're a Southeastern Conference fan. If you're a member of the American Athletic Conference or the Sun Belt Conference, not so much. Times are changing.
Yeah, it's going to continue to trend that way. This is actually just a baby step
to the ultimate goal, which we've been discussing for years, and it's taking all of this minutia to get it going in that direction.
They're actually going the Judge Claudia Wilkin route with this, instead of just, here it is, you're going to like it all in one scoop.
Well, I think the NCAA is trying to get their ducks in a row, because when this Claudia Wilkin decision does come down, and it could come down today, because the final briefs were supposed to be submitted to her today, and she could look at it and go, you know what? Let's do this. Make it so. And it could be official.
And just having some casual conversations, I would be willing to bet a lot that this does not go to trial.
No.
Will we hear by the end of the week? I know you said today's a possibility, but do you think by the time we're wrapping up the show on Friday, we will have a a resolution of some sort.
Before the end of next week.
Yeah,
Next
I
week?
don't think this week because unless she's just going to be knocked over happy in regards to what they're going to, and I don't see her as someone that's a very happy individual.
Mm-mm.
So I think she is going to absolutely take her 15 minutes of fame and try to turn it into a month-long hostage situation. So in other words, no, you will not hear anything by the end of the
I
week.
bet her bridge club is hacked off.
Yeah.
When are we getting Claudia back?
She just wants to get her fame up there, so when they do a 30 for 30 on this, she'll get an A-list actress to portray her.
I'm trying to be more of a she's not a spring chicken.
Well, that's why you laughed when he said knocked over, right?
Yeah, I know where he's going with that.
Just a little gust of wind in the courthouse. Oh, there she goes.
Yeah, they probably need to hurry up and get her ruling on that. Or you got to start all over.
Well,
Bad joke, but would that not be the most NCAA type situation ever?
Yes.
I don't want that to happen, but would that not be just par for the course, unfortunately?
Oh,
No, it very well. I mean,
that great call. It would.
now's the time to check out Courtesy GMC out in Trussville. The very best in inventory and service is found right there off of I-459 exit 32 at Courtesy GMC. The inventory at Courtesy, it's outstanding. Plenty of models to choose from, no matter what your lifestyle calls for, whether it's the larger vehicle in a Yukon XL or a Yukon or a smaller crossover like the Acadia. I drive the AT4 Acadia. It's an outstanding vehicle. Or a Terrain. Trucks like the Sierra 1500, the Canyon, all new redesign. And their pre-owned inventory is the deepest you're going to find anywhere in central Alabama. Courtesy is going to beat any deal on a brand new GMC. They're the lowest price dealer in the state of Alabama. You don't need to go anywhere to buy a brand new GMC. Just drive to Trussville. You will not be disappointed in what you're going to find there at Courtesy GMC. Compare the dealerships. They encourage you. Go to courtesybirmingham.com. Check out their inventory. Look at the prices for not only Courtesy GMC, but other Metro GMC dealerships. How about Southeast? You're not going to find anybody that's going to beat their prices. Go see them off of I-459 exit 32 in Trussville, or check out their inventory at courtesybirmingham.com.
Dimitri Ravenos live from the bubble bath. The inside, what you need to know on Bill Belichick, coming up at 12:33. Man Front continues here on Wednesday. Jocks 94.5. 12:18, three-man front on a Wednesday. Entire crew is here. Appreciate your text. Get back to the text line, 205-834-9450. Braves in action tonight. They try to make it 4 in a row. Some late inning heroics last night, coming, 8th inning and beyond. The Braves able to tie it up. Quite the pitcher's duel with Chris Sale going double digits in strikeouts last night, but it was Marcell Ozuna coming up with a clutch hit in extras as the Braves beat the Reds 2-1. They're back in action tonight. And speaking of Major League Baseball, Pat, you are wearing a very, very sporty Travis Matthews St. Louis Cardinals polo.
Yes, well, thank you very much, Landry. I appreciate you noticing that. Yes, and I got this at 18 South.
Yep.
That's right.
I got one that does not
You got the Cardinal?
It does not say St. Louis.
Oh,
no, it is
you
gray,
didn't?
but it's got the scripted A Braves, and I'm saving it for
A special occasion.
Well, we have we're going over for affiliate day with the
Yeah.
Braves Radio Network, and I thought I would break it out then, but woo,
18 South. That's
really, yeah, man.
where you need to go. I mean, right now, they're having a spring cleaning sale. It's the best savings of the year. Now, I can tell you in Trussville, they've got $15 T-shirts, $20 hats, $40 polos and shorts, $50 pants and jeans, and so much more. Now is the time that folks need to go to 18 South and stock up on these closeout styles. More than 60% off. And don't forget about the Homewood location at the Edge.
Yeah, get in there, and I tell everybody, and now it's starting to catch on with a lot of people, just word of mouth and people who've been in there. But they have the 2 locations, of course, in Homewood and in Trussville. But I can promise you, when you go in there, you're going to find something that you like, and you're going to leave with it.
It's great stuff. And I know Molly has been in there. Matter of fact, you go to 18 South's website, and Molly's on the front page of the website.
Yeah, the Molly Robinson collection. Some of my favorite clothes for on the go and for work. So, if you have any female friends that need some good clothes, check out the Molly Robinson collection too.
Absolutely. Some good stuff there at 18 South. So the biggest sale of the year. So go by and see them in Homewood at the Edge and right there in Trussville, right down from Petco. So go by and see Patrick and the fine folks there at 18 South.
Yeah, they got great gear, whether it's just lounging around or beach, pool, golf, formal, semi-formal, but it all looks good. It's not like you walk in there and you're like, man. who would
Conrad's
wear
got
that?
18 South quarter zip on right now.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
even looks good on him.
And if it looks good on me, it's going to look good on you.
It's going to look great on you. If it looks good on me, it's going to look great on you.
We told you that Texas Tech has spent a lot of money in the transfer portal, like over $10 million back in December. Well, they announced this morning that they have sold out its 33,000 season ticket allotment for Texas Tech football.
Guns up.
It's the 3rd consecutive season that they have sold out their season tickets. That's pretty impressive
Mhm.
for a team that's not vying for a college football playoff spot.
Until this year, Pat, this is the year.
This is the year. I feel like this is the year.
They're going to be a popular dark horse. pick, I
Patrick
think.
Mahomes helping them out. They got a billionaire energy tycoon.
Let's think about it from the Big 12. The dark horses, they've been pretty prevalent.
If Dylan Raiola really wants to be Patrick Mahomes, why is he not in Lubbock, Texas right now?
Nobody saw Arizona State coming last year.
That's right.
Nobody saw TCU coming.
Oh, they
were
had
eventually-
Scatterboo, though. They had Scatterboo.
TCU eventually drubbed, I know, by Georgia. But wasn't that a fun run?
It was until that game.
Mm-hmm.
It was
It was
great
fun
to see
when they
them
were
beat
beating
Michigan. Yeah,
when
that
Michigan
was fun.
threw up all over themselves. Yeah.
So Kalen DeBoer was in Birmingham yesterday speaking at lunch. And I'm not slamming the guy. It's just the fact that there's a lot of word salad with him. You don't really get a lot of news and information from Kalen DeBoer. But his defensive coordinator, Kane Womack, he was in Mobile last night. He was speaking to the First Light Community Football Preview Dinner and the Mobile Sports Hall of Fame induction banquet. That's a mouthful. That took part there. Hopefully there's an abbreviation for all that. But he was in Mobile, and he had a chance to catch up with the media. And this is what Kane Womack had to say about his excitement level about the direction in year 2 under Kalen DeBoer.
I'm really excited about the direction we're headed right now. I mean, there's so many things to get done in year 1. You're trying to get to know your roster. You're trying to bring new guys in. You're trying to keep the guys on your roster. And I think, understanding this league at a much more dynamic level as a coaching staff and understanding our players and how they fit within our systems. And we took a huge jump, from a spring standpoint. We were able to retain more players, more depth. I'm excited about some of the guys that are coming back this season. That was huge in January. And then, I think to be able to retain the players that we did is a real nod and a tip of the cap to Coach DeBoer and how proactive he is in terms of having conversations with not only the players but families and representatives, right, for those players. We were very proactive, and I think we were the only team in the SEC that, didn't lose a scholarship player. So I think that's a nod in the right direction that the players enjoy what we're doing, they believe in what we're doing, and they're excited to go to work every day.
Retention. That's the big. Oh, look at Conrad. He just pumped his fist in the air. Did that get you pumped up for the season?
I'm already pumped up. It was funny. Somebody at Social Talk yesterday said, "Man, you're always very optimistic about Alabama." I'm like, of course, I have to be. Otherwise, I'd be sad all the time. And Paige doesn't want that. Neither do y'all. Fire me up, Coach. Year 2. This was always the year. This was always the year.
It was always the year.
This was always the year. Yeah, last year. Child's play. This was always the year.
Is it wrong that, I don't know, Pat, I'm not going to speak for you, but when Conrad his emotions are in flux, I kind of enjoy it. Just about that, not about
like just general life stuff.
Yeah, life stuff. Because he's quite the roller coaster.
It's gonna be a good year. Gonna be a good year.
Well, I don't know if that's I'm not doubting him, but that stat he gave about them being the only SEC school not to.
They didn't lose a scholarship player in the spring portal window. That is a fact.
Well, Dabo's been saying that for years.
Well,
but
also didn't have anybody coming out of the portal.
But if you go all the way back to when, even in the fall.
Yeah, well, no, that we're not worried about the fall anymore, Pat.
The number's 24, by the way, which is one of the highest in the Southeastern Conference. So
bloated roster. Had to get those guys out of there.
And why was that roster bloated?
Brought in too many new these young bucks, Pat. They're too good. Had to make room for them.
Too good for that 9-4 record last year.
Mm-hmm. That's right. Mm-hmm. Let me have this. Let me feel good.
What, feel good that you had nobody transfer out in the spring portal?
Yes, Pat, that's good. That means that they want to be there. They are. God, they're fired up for this season, Pat. They want to be there.
I think
they're
a lot of those guys,
games.
They were young. They were bright-eyed last year. They weren't ready for the Vanderbilt.
They weren't ready for the bright lights of Nashville in the construction zone. That was the Vanderbilt
you
Stadium.
play in front of 28,000 fans in the middle of the day. That's pretty intimidating for an 18, 19-year-old.
Hold on a second. Don't forget, out of those 28,000, about 23,000 was Alabama fans.
Added pressure. They traveled all this way. We have to perform.
That one was on the fans. We had too many Alabama fans in Nashville. That's on us.
I agree.
And then Conrad made the mistake of going to Norman.
Yeah, that was on me. So the Tennessee loss is the only one that, hey, I'll give that to them. That was on Jalen Milroe. So Vanderbilt was on the fans. Tennessee was on Jalen Milroe, and I will personally shoulder the blame single-handedly for Oklahoma.
Who was Georgia on?
I'll also take credit for that one.
Okay.
So it kind of balanced out.
I didn't know if you were going to give Jalen Milroe.
No, that's Ryan Williams.
Or the
Ryan Williams
offensive brain trust. Any credit there?
No, Ryan Williams and Xavier Brown get the credit for that one.
Okay.
What about the Michigan loss?
I blame Harbaugh.
I blame weather.
Yeah, I was going to say weather.
Yeah. Weather.
Didn't want to be there.
No, didn't want to be there.
Weren't motivated. Not playing for anything.
No.
I tell you, the problem was because they went to Busch Gardens. They hung out on roller coasters.
That's
equilibrium was off.
Yep.
How can you run a route when you're experiencing vertigo?
I was about to say they were nauseous on the field.
Mm-hmm.
Probably from looking at the Michigan uniforms and the roller coaster.
Probably.
Yeah. Like, God, we have to play against these cheaters.
Mm-hmm.
The cheaters that were running third and fourth string guys out there.
But they were cheaters, Pat. It's in the blood.
I'm convinced.
It's just
now.
in the water up there.
Make room in the trophy case.
That's right.
Undefeated, 12-0.
12-0. Well, would it be 17-0? 17-0.
Well, you get a first round.
You get a first round.
The SEC championship, and then
yeah.
Woo! 17-0, baby. Mark it down. May 7th.
But the way the tiebreakers work out, you potentially could go undefeated in the SEC and not play in the SEC championship game.
Yeah, if 2 other teams went undefeated as well. It's not going to be Georgia, I'll tell you that right now.
Texas.
Yeah, we don't have to play them. That's fine.
Wow.
We'll take care of them in Atlanta.
All right, coming up next, one of our favorite guests on the show, Dimitri Ravanos, is going to join us. He's got some interesting thoughts about the Bill Belichick situation with his girlfriend, Jordan. That's next, 3-Man Front. Always a good time when we have Dimitri Ravanos on from Barrett Media. I know it shocks everyone on this radio show that he would write a piece about Bill Belichick and his 24-year-old girlfriend.
Yeah. This is so in his wheelhouse.
And the reason why you
love
just
it.
heard that song is because are you coming to us from your bubble bath right now on the show?
No, actually, I am in Chicago right now, so I'm coming to you from the side of a like quiet corner of a conference room.
Oh, okay. All right. Well,
You're the only productive member of society that I know that's into bath salts. I mean, bubble baths.
I mean, who's to say I'm not into bath salts?
Maybe
I enjoy biting someone's face on occasion.
I mean, because Landrum promoted the fact that you were going to come on the show from the bubble bath.
Yeah.
It excited him.
That was
Listen, one day we'll do a video conference. We'll put it up on YouTube. I'll be at the bubble bath. It'll be great.
all seriousness. What's the longest in one sitting, lounging, luxuriating you've ever done in the bubble bath?
Those actually, I've got it down to a science now, so it doesn't really take me that long. But I would say in the beginning, I was probably sitting in there for a good 40 minutes recording everything.
So if you have not caught Dimitri on social media, it's the college football bubble bath.
Yeah.
And
so good.
It's good stuff. It's really good content.
Yes.
All right. So let's talk about Bill Belichick. You have got an article up at barrettmedia.com. Why Bill Belichick should rethink college football and return to sports media. What do you say about this?
I mean, I would say, first of all, I did not, the title was not my idea because my question is, I don't even know if he could at this point. He should, like he shouldn't have taken this job in the first place, but I wonder if he has so damaged his reputation that he needs to just disappear for a year or two and then come back to media. He was pretty good last year in the way that ESPN was using him. If you saw him on Inside the NFL at all, there's just been nothing. There's been no sign that he is particularly interested in being North Carolina's football coach. They're going to win 8 or 9 games this year because they have a terrible schedule, but I can't see any evidence he's actually out there making that team better or even interested in making that team better.
With all of his success, and we see questionable hires in the NFL every single year, why do you believe that Bill Belichick did not land with one of those franchises that at the time had a job opening?
Well, I mean, it is, and I do not want to dismiss his role in the Brady Belichick years in the Patriots, but it is hard to dismiss what people saw the last 3 years. I mean, not only were the Patriots bad, Bill Belichick seemed to not know how to put a roster together anymore. He had more increasingly had sort of isolated himself. I think that he really had a problem with not expanding the brains in his operation. You know, it's interesting that he and Nick Saban take so much from each other, because if Nick Saban saw something that was working, he would figure out how to get the person responsible for that into his circle of coaches. Bill Belichick just seemed to wait over and over again until Josh McDaniels was ready or until Matt Patricia was available. I think that is a big part of it, is not only were his teams getting worse, but he did not seem to be interested in getting any better and bringing in outside perspectives to expand his bag of tricks.
Dimitri, let me ask you this. When North Carolina started kicking the tires on this idea of bringing him to Chapel Hill, do you think they knew what they were getting themselves into with the sideshow, with his side piece, or do you think it was a situation where they were going after the name and nothing else mattered?
Yeah, I think it was 100% the name and nothing else matters. I mean, the history of North Carolina football, I've lived in North Carolina for 20 years. Every single year I have heard that North Carolina as a football team is a sleeping giant. They're just waiting for the right coach. Well, I mean, at some point you have to start to wonder if the giant is dead, right? Like, I mean, how long do you sit and wait for the right person to wake this thing up? I think that North Carolina is a basketball culture. The people with money there are worried about the basketball team. They just don't want to be embarrassed in football. It's really important to note that Bill Belichick came to them, not the other way around. And I think once that happened, there were a lot of people with money that only kind of pay attention to football that became convinced there was no better offer. There was no better outcome than that.
Dimitri, if you were a profiler and Jordan Hudson is your subject, profile based on what you've seen, what you believe, Jordan Hudson for us all.
I think Jordan Hudson, like a lot of 24-year-olds, thinks they have the world figured out, or thinks she has the world figured out. I think you can see in those emails that The Athletic obtained that she does have a basic understanding of marketing. What is very clear, though, is she does not grasp that she cannot force people to deny what they see in front of their own face. So when she's directing UNC on how to market Steve Belichick as not a nepotism hire, I mean, at the end of the day, we can all see the last name, right? At the end of the day, we've all seen the gif of him flicking his tongue back and forth in that Patriots polo. We all have our opinion of the guy that's not going to change. I think that Jordan Hudson is not unlike a lot of women or even men probably too, her age. It's just, boy, she does not seem to have a problem acting this way on camera, and she always wants to be on camera.
Dimitri Ravenos joins us from Barrett Media here on Three Man Front, talking about the Bill Belichick situation there at North Carolina. So my question is, do you think this is just a marketing campaign for his book, or do you think it is as crazy as it's going right now between Jordan and him?
No, I think it is as crazy as we are seeing it. I don't think that he is necessarily in any trouble like some people are acting like he is. I think he is a dude with a much younger girlfriend that is basically defined himself by that now, and is going to do anything to make that younger girlfriend seem like an important part of his life. She probably is. Like, who am I to say whether or not they actually love each other? But the fact is that if you asked Bill Belichick who he was today, I would bet he would introduce you to Jordan before he would tell you he's a football coach.
Being entrenched there in where you are and knowing a lot about not only that program, but the other programs in the surrounding area in the state of North Carolina. But the North Carolina folks, and I don't want to paint it with a broad brush like it's everyone in North Carolina, the influential, the decision makers, the wine and cheese crowd, knowing them like you know them, how much will they give? How short will the leash be for any of this extracurricular noise that might be brought about by Jordan Hudson or Bill Belichick away from or inside the building? How much will they allow before they say, you know what, not worth it?
So, you know, what is interesting is it is less, what I've heard from some of those people is they are less bothered by Jordan Hudson and the way their relationship plays out on air, and more bothered by the fact that he shows up to CBS in a Navy sweatshirt. They're more bothered by the fact that Michael Lombardi was on the ACC network earlier this week saying that Carolina blue is a soft color. I mean, that I think is the bigger, that is what is shortening the leash, is the just blatant disrespect, not just Belichick, but his whole team seem to have for the University of North Carolina and North Carolina football. And don't get me wrong, North Carolina football has not done a whole lot to earn that respect. But if you were the head coach, like, I mean, just it's rare he gets photographed in a UNC pullover, polo shirt, whatever the case may be. It is not just the way he and his girlfriend are behaving. It is that he is giving them no reason to say, yeah, but, when the rest of the country is pointing and laughing.
Michael Lombardi can say whatever he wants from this point forward. I had no idea he had said that about the Carolina blue. I have nothing for the guy anymore. What a ridiculous statement.
Yeah,
that is a great shade of blue.
It's, I mean, look, it is not my favorite shade of blue, but certainly if it's okay for Michael Jordan, I think it's okay for any other athlete in American history.
Yeah, I agree with
that. It's very
that.
versatile, Dimitri.
So how much money?
Well, I mean, I'm not saying it's bad.
Yeah. How much money do you think could be raised for the North Carolina football team NIL if they were to maybe some streaming partner lines up and streams the Miss Maine competition coming up in less than a week?
Yes. Yes.
Now, is Jordan injured, or is she doing expert play-by-play?
I think she's Miss Hancock County. She's ready to go.
Yeah.
Good.
Miss
Yeah.
Hancock
No,
County.
let's put it on Tar Heel Vision or whatever it is we're calling the online website.
Absolutely. I mean, she is.
If we have access to this, I would be all for us going and doing like instant reaction.
Yeah, I mean, listen, we
To
have
this pageant.
kicked the tires with some friends of mine here that host a really popular sports podcast in North Carolina, Joe Ovius and Joe Giglio, have kicked the tires on doing a show from her mother's
museum.
let's say intimacy enhancement store.
Yeah, Landrum was there over the weekend. He said that it's really good quality stuff.
Yeah. It's top of the line stuff there at Arrows, whatever it's called. Isn't it Arrows?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is.
Arrows.
It's on the tip of the cod, right?
Gosh, Pat.
It's in Cape Cod.
Yes, it is.
Championship relationship involves championship preparation.
But the museum, if you're a historian, it's
Right.
pretty interesting. Just from the
Did you
pictures
really
that Pat.
visit the museum?
No, Pat.
Oh, okay.
Pat pulled up the website last Thursday on the show, and we learned about it together on live radio. It was entertaining for us. I don't know how many other people.
Well, just a note to Cumulus Media, Cumulus Legal, that was for show purposes.
Yep.
Well, it was on my laptop, so
That was on Pat's.
okay, well,
it was
and look,
not
that
the
laptop has seen far worse.
Yeah, it is. This is the conversation we are having. Is absolutely not what the septuagenarians that write the checks at UNC had envisioned when they hired Bill Belichick.
That's a big word. I gotta look that up.
The first 5,000 fans in attendance receive.
Yeah, no doubt.
That's
All
right.
All right, so give us a prediction here. Does he make it to week 1 against TCU, or is this thing done?
No, he doesn't make it to week 1 against TCU. I mean, the June 1st buyout is such a key thing. I always thought from the moment he got hired that the plan was to put UNC in a position where the only thing that made sense was to give Steve Belichick his first head coaching job. I did not have his girlfriend blows this whole thing up for him on my bingo card, but that might be where we get to. I have never from day one thought he was going to coach a game.
Well, for those who have never heard Dimitri come on this program, shame on you, first of all. But Dimitri actually correctly predicted the retirement of Nick Saban.
He did.
That's right.
On this show.
4 months before it happened.
Yep, he was the first one out of the gate.
Yep.
Conrad mocked
year
you
I
off
made-
the air. He absolutely mocked
You know what?
you. He slammed you.
You know what?
I did no
No
such
wonder
thing.
he's so nice to me
Yep.
whenever he calls.
Yes.
But that's the mindset you're describing when you're talking about that Jordan Hudson generation. That's Conrad.
Yeah.
Right there.
Right in the wheelhouse.
That's right. They don't care. They don't care how silly they look or who knows it, as long as they're on camera or radio.
That's right.
Yep. No doubt. Well, listen, Dimitri, we will let you get back to the fun and frivolity that is Chicago, Illinois. Always appreciate you joining us for a few minutes, and we'll be watching from afar. And hopefully this will continue to give us wonderful content throughout the summer.
Do I get to be your official Tar Heel correspondent whenever things happen?
You better believe it. Are you kidding me?
Yes.
No, we've got this
Wonderful. I'm
YouTube. We
going
got
to-
this YouTube link now. We're gonna hook you up because Landrum wants you to do the interview in the bubble bath. So we will do that.
Oh, geez. Well, yeah, just ask next time. I'll be ready to go.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Sounds good. Well, safe travels back,
All right,
and
boys.
we'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, Dimitri.
All right, sounds good. Talk to you soon.
Thanks. That's Dimitri Ravenos joining us on the Higginbotham Hotline. You deserve solutions that are built for you. Higginbotham is your one-source solution for insurance, financial, and HR needs.
Mark it down. Belichick never coaches a game.
How about that? He's calling it now.
I love it.
After the buyout, June 1st. Man, more three-man front. This is Jocks 94.5.
12:51, three-man front. Always a fun conversation with Dimitri Ravenos, Mike Newton, discussing an event coming up June 19th at Rickwood, and Brian Edwards. All of that available, three-man front and Jocks 94.5 and the podcast. We appreciate our listeners in Montgomery, up in North Alabama, and Huntsville, the surrounding area, and wherever you are traveling today. If you have the Jocks 94.5 app or you're watching us on YouTube on Jocks TV, Molly, being the
sleuth that she is,
resourceful person.
Man,
I didn't know how to
kind of
finish
hit
that.
a brick wall there, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. She has pulled up the Miss Maine USA contestants.
Found all of
where
them.
You can go and vote right now.
All 17 of them.
It says you can vote as many times as you want.
There's only 17?
Yeah,
there's only 17.
There's only 17 counties in the state of Maine?
Not sure.
No.
But here's the only catch. You can vote as many times as you want, but it's going to cost you $1 every time you vote. Which leads me to ask this question. Why does Miss Hancock County, Jordan Hudson, only have 5 votes?
Well, there's also a 5-vote minimum, too.
Oh, it's like you have to give $5 to be able to.
Yeah.
Seems like you could just, ask Bill for
I'll do it.
some money and get, buy the votes, right?
Miss Greenville has 995. Come on, Bill.
Maybe her answers were better during the Q&A portion.
Yeah, Miss Banger, Shelby Howell. She has garnered 101 votes. But running away with it, who was it, Molly?
Miss Greenville.
Yeah, Miss Greenville. You got it going on.
Wait. What do you mean she's got it going on?
With votes. I'm not talking about anything else.
Well, you're looking at the pictures.
No, but that's where the vote totals are, underneath.
I thought you liked the one from Banger.
Miss Banger.
Yeah, Miss Banger.
It's Shelby. Pennabob Scott. I don't even know how to say that one.
Is that a name?
Ariana DeJesus has got Penobscot.
How do you know how to pronounce that? Penobscot?
I took English.
Well, I did too. I was trying to.
I would have ended up with hopscotch or something.
I couldn't say that, but I could quickly identify that it was Ariana DeJesus. Go figure. Penobscot. Oxford.
There's an Oxford, Maine?
Apparently.
Okay.
Portland. That's where Shawshank was. Portland,
Oh,
Maine.
is it?
Mm-hmm. Jennifer Bergeron is representing Portland. She's got 24 votes. That's all I got. I don't know.
So how long do we have to vote, Molly? Does it say when the voting ends?
Well, the pageant. Oh, it says voting will take place online up until 10 a.m. on Sunday, May 11th.
I was
you got to get in and vote now, people.
I was talking to Molly in the break, and I said, "There's no way that Hudson's going to win this thing." Molly, you said no, right?
I mean,
Too much outside noise.
potentially.
Maybe mom runs a BOGO deal at the store, right? Or at the museum. Hey, you come in, you buy an item, and, or vote for my daughter, and you get a free item.
I don't think that's going to be a part of the swag bag.
You don't think so?
No.
Is that your phone that keeps buzzing?
And I would pull up the website, but I'm afraid to. So.
Yeah, don't Google what I did the other day either. That was a mistake.
What was that?
United States sex toy museum or something like that. Whatever.
You Googled that?
Well, because Pat was asking, well, is there...
It's my fault. I told him to do it. Yeah.
Pat said, well, is there only one? And I said, I don't know. So I'm going to find... inevitably, I'm going to look it up and find out. And there's more than one.
Did you honestly think of a country of 330 million people that there would only be one museum that would feature that?
Her mom was the pioneer.
Yeah, I was about to say.
You know what? I bet people would really be into this.
Well, it's in P-Town, so it just seems like, hey, maybe we'll just let them have that, right? But I guess not.
Did you tell your lovely bride that you guys were going to P-Town for summer vacation?
No, it's going to be a surprise. It's one of those things where I tell her we're going to the airport and we're just going to pick somewhere and travel there, but secretly all along.
I've always wanted to do that.
You know, John Saber did that.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, they did. Because there was some, I guess, kind of company you can do it through, and they'll give you hints as like, hey, you need warm clothes or heavy clothes or cold weather.
John Saber said it was great. It's fantastic.
But I know people that absolutely would not want. You wouldn't want that, Pat.
Oh gosh, no.
That'd be horrible for you.
No, I gotta have it all planned out.
It sounds like a nice idea, but yeah, I don't know. That might stress me out. Unless you just got somewhere really cool and you're like, oh, that's great. But what if you end up in Cleveland, right? I thought we were going to the Caribbean.
Mr. Van Order, you were not on your return flight. No, I drove somewhere else and then I drove home. 1 o'clock hour, Pat Ponders and more. A lot of your texts rolling in. Keep them coming.
It is 1 o'clock. Welcome back in the fourth and final hour of three-man front. Pat Smith, Langel Roberts, Conrad Van Order, Molly Robinson with you until 2 o'clock. Appreciate Dimitri Ravenos joining us this last hour. Before that, we talked to Mike Newton from the Friends of Rick Wood. Brian Edwards, Vegas Insider. If you missed any of those interviews, you can always download the Three-Man Front podcast.
Well, as we know, Mother's Day is this weekend, but it's not too late to celebrate her at Diamonds Direct. Whatever her style is, from classic to modern, or even somewhere in between, you will find the perfect piece. from diamond stud earrings to elegant pendants and so much more. Their selection is massive. I went to the showroom a few weeks ago, and there is so much, and it is all beautiful. So this Mother's Day, you can make her Mother's Day even more special because with your purchase, you will also receive a limited time purple travel jewelry roll. So like I said, high quality and hand selected, all at Diamonds Direct.
Pat asks questions. We try to answer. Occasionally, we'll get a BB question. Maybe today. This is Pat Ponders.
Brought to you by Courtesy GMC and Trustful, right off of exit 32, 459. You can't miss it. Just a wonderful dealership. Tons of inventory. Go to courtesybirmingham.com. Question number 1. Todd Golden is now the second highest paid SEC basketball coach and top 5 nationally. Should he get paid as much as fellow Gator football coach Billy Napier?
Yes. What is Napier making? Roughly how much more?
About $1.5 million more, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because you won it all. You won a national championship in basketball. And I realize that the bell cow is college football, and it always will be. But no, for what he's done and for the lack thereof of Billy Napier and what he's done so far, yeah. I think Bruce Pearl should make more than Hugh Freeze.
I feel like it's tricky because in terms of the product you put on the court or on the field in this instance, Todd Golden, clearly, he just won a national championship, right? Doesn't get any better than that. However, we all know that football is still going to bring in significantly more money than the basketball program is, even winning a national championship. So where maybe in a fair world, you would get paid more because you were having more success because of how much money football generates. I have no problem with Napier being higher paid.
But you're missing the hidden dollars that we don't think about, and that when it comes to admissions, things that come into your university. Remember the study that was done when Stephen F. Austin made the run in the NCAA tournament just a few years ago, and their president came out and said, "Do you know what this has meant to our bottom line?" So the exposure, the positive recognition,
yeah,
I think what he brought that Gator program this year in their run. Well, of course, there was a little bit of an offset there with some. But that was cleared up with an internal investigation, so it's all good.
Landrum, I'm with you on this one. I think he should be paid about the same or more because, obviously he won a national championship and one of the hardest things to do in college sports.
Yep.
Question number 2. Tommy Tuberville embarrassed Doug Jones by beating the Democrat by 500,000 votes for the Alabama Senate race a few years back. He garnered 60% of the vote of the people of the state of Alabama that voted in that election. So if Tuberville decides to replace Governor Meemaw as our governor, and Nick Saban would decide to run for Alabama Senate based on his residence in Tuscaloosa, what percentage of the vote do you predict Saban would get in the state of Alabama? Keep in mind, Tuberville got 60% when he beat Doug Jones.
75%.
Wow.
Yeah, I was going between 70 and 75.
70.
Because, you also have to imagine, and I'm sure it happened when Tuberville was here in Auburn, right? But all the write-ins and things like that. But if you go back and look at how many, I think Nick Kelly actually did a story on that recently, going back and looking through all of the elections and how many write-in votes Nick Saban got, and it's astounding. So, yeah, if he actually ran for office, it would be a landslide.
Because that was a royal butt whooping that Tuberville did on Doug Jones. 60% of the vote.
That's a lot.
I don't think it's that far-fetched that Saban ends up in office, right?
I don't think he would actually go to try to be an elected official. Now, let's say the president signs an executive order. And in that executive, he makes Nick Saban the czar of college football. Or he's on the president's council of college athletics or something that's created. And Nick Saban would maybe be in charge of that. But I personally do not see him being the age that Coach Saban is, the things that he enjoys doing. And then there's always been the debate on where Tommy Tuberville lives. A lot of people in the state still talk about that. Does he live in Destin? Does he live at the lake? Does Saban live in Juniper, Florida? Or does he live in Tuscaloosa? But I don't think Nick would want that headache, to be honest with you. But I'm like you, he would win overwhelmingly. But I just think his age and what he's doing with his life, I'm just like, why do I need
But if he
this?
was called into service to serve God and country, I think he would.
No, I don't think there's any doubt about it. That's why I'm saying if President Trump comes up and said, "Look, I want to form a commission, and I want you to be in charge of this commission. I want to make you the czar of college athletics, or just the czar of college football," I think he would do it. Absolutely.
But yeah, I mean, we heard part of why he wanted to retire, and we know the football stuff, but a lot of it was spending time with the family that he hadn't gotten to, and the grandkids and stuff. And I don't think under his own volition he would want to go and run for office, but.
All right, next question. Speaking of President Trump, do you agree with President Trump's proposal to reopen Alcatraz for the nation's most vicious, violent criminals?
Yes. 100%.
Make them swim the channel?
No, not swim the channel. I mean, while I might want that, they would never allow that. Yeah, I think, yes, make an iconic landmark. And I think it's one of those things that would be a visual representation and may serve as a deterrent to some. Like, I don't want to go to The Rock.
It was a good movie, by the way.
It's no longer, yeah, it was. It's no longer just a museum. It's no longer just a bunch of old cement and block sitting out there on that beautiful island. And you don't have to worry about certain other things that could get in the way. I don't have to send them all to El Salvador.
Yeah, no, I'm 100% in favor of that.
Could we still have tours?
Would you want to have tours?
You're doggone right, I would.
No touching the inmates. No touching the inmates.
No, I mean you have it's a controlled tour, but yes, it's kind of like when I went to the fair. You remember we go to the Alabama State Fair when you were little? This was impressive on me because we're walking around and I'll never forget their advertising. It's one of these carnival barkers and they're advertising. They're like, "Come and see if he puts one more drug into his body." You know, it was. One of those deals. We didn't go inside, but I was always very curious.
You didn't go inside?
No, parents wouldn't let me.
Come on, I feel like you need to see that.
But that's what they were promoting and it's horrible, but
right.
I didn't know if I'd ever hear Alabama State Fair and Alcatraz
Pat
combined into a sentence.
Would you not pay a little bit of money if you were given a tour of an inhabited Alcatraz, new edition Alcatraz? I would.
I would need additional security.
Well, yeah. They can open it on Halloween, like how some haunted houses, the people can actually touch you, and they do that at Alcatraz.
It's not.
You might get shanked. I don't know.
Additional security.
See.
You're going to have, I would think some of the best of the best in our correctional system that are out there.
Just imagine it's like a Disney ride and they have like the track going through the cell block and you get stuck in the middle of this.
You go and work there. You go there and work at the Rock. We're giving you all kinds of tax breaks. You're not paying that California income tax.
Oh.
No, we're cutting all that California tax stuff.
Here's my question. And is the Rock, is that federal land? Or is that state of California?
Ooh, that could be a problem.
Because if it's federal land, then you might not have to pay. I don't know. I'm not a CPA. How about you, Molly? You for it? You against it?
I say no. Keep it a piece of history. Like, it's a historical landmark, and I feel like it would be more cost effective to just build something else.
It would cost a lot of money.
And trying to repair. I mean, it hasn't been open since what? I mean, it's been open to the public since the 70s.
Right, but for the purposes of putting the hardened criminals in there, you would have to.
No, don't update any amenities. Nothing.
Just keep it at. Don't touch it.
That's right. Make them suffer. It's also, I just Googled it. Alcatraz is owned by the National Park Service.
Oh, good.
Okay.
Good.
So federal land.
Yeah.
There you go.
Checking the
Might be a loophole.
Yeah. Step in the right direction there. How many did it house originally?
I do not know that.
336 at one given time.
Okay.
That doesn't seem like a lot.
It doesn't. Yeah, this says they only had in total 1,576 inmates over the entire lifespan of the prison, which was 29 years.
Well, they had a lot of people at life sentence and didn't go anywhere.
No, it scared a lot of people straight into not acting up.
Conrad, is that if they did it, they went through with this?
Yeah.
Would you pay for a ticket to go and tour it?
Yeah, I've always wanted to go to Alcatraz. I think that would be very
Inhabited
interesting.
though, right?
If I had Kevlar, yeah. Something to protect me.
You're freaking Molly out.
You guys are.
I think
you
it would be
guys are acting like
interesting.
you're going to walk in and there's just going to be like an event staff worker. Just like, all right.
Do you go visit the Alabama penitentiaries just for
I've seen plenty.
Just for giggles?
I've seen plenty.
Let me go on.
We actually work with a former corrections officer. Yeah.
I'm not trying. It would be cool, but I'm also not trying to. You smell mighty nice, boy. I'm not trying to hear that the entire time I'm walking through the things that they would say to you, and who knows what they would throw at you. And
Hi, I'm Conrad. I'm the one who's been writing you. Here's your care package.
You're that boy that can't change a tire, aren't you? I'll show you. Maybe I'll go first before they redo it, and I'll get a lay of the land.
That'd probably be a good idea. All right, question number 4. On this National Tourism Day, what's your favorite mode of transportation when you go on vacation?
Plane, I guess.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
I like to drive just because I'm so used to it. I mean, most of our vacations we drove.
So, for instance, when
Some
you
people
go,
like to rent a car and drive themselves, or if you go to a Caribbean island, sometimes you will find an individual and you will hire them for the entire week.
We had one. His name was Carlton.
Yeah, we
He was
had
great.
one when we went to the Virgin Islands.
So when you go and visit your brother in Michigan, would you, in an ideal world, would you rather fly that trip or drive it?
For Michigan,
If time
fly,
wasn't a problem.
just because I have done that trip so many times from living in Michigan and my family still being in North Alabama. So now I would fly, but I mean, every time I went to Nebraska, I always needed my car, so I had to drive.
I used to say fly. But now with airports and just recent experiences, and I've talked to my wife about this, getting one of those Sprinter vans, buying one, kind of outfitting it, just custom for us, and driving. I can't stand sitting in an airport. I cannot stand it.
I think it would be a great project for you and Gringo to buy yourself a conversion van and basically redo it. And then Gringo and his wife can go on their trips, and then you and Dorothy can go on your trips. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. And I love him. But no, he could. I don't want to have something that I have to
share
to share
Well, I
with
was
someone
thinking-
else, and we have dueling weekends.
I was
where-
thinking cost effectiveness.
Well, no,
was
and I
thinking
like
about your
what you're
costs.
thinking. But I've been on some auction sites, and you can find some that are relatively inexpensive.
All right, the fifth and final question comes from BB, and you thought yesterday was a doozy. Get ready.
Oh, boy.
You just moved into a new gated community and have been invited to dinner with a few of your new neighbors. The dinner is outstanding, and the conversation is compelling. But your acquaintance whispers this is a private swingers club seeking to expand. So here's your 3 options.
I was going to say they bring out the upside down pineapple, and that's exactly where we went.
Grab your significant other and run, never to speak to these people again. That's option number 1. Option number 2, politely decline the invitation, saying this is not your thing, but it was a great dinner, and maybe we'll see you around the street as you swiftly exit. Or 3, call your realtor.
Oh, so there's not an option where you
participate?
join the club?
No, it's not.
Got to rethink my answer then.
It's like, dang it.
So you go to a party in your new neighborhood and you find out that it is a swingers club looking to expand. What will you do? Grab your significant other and run? Politely decline the invitation or call your realtor?
Well, I would politely decline.
Mm-hmm.
But I still would have so many questions. Like, is this like potluck night? Do you draw numbers? How does this work?
So you're more into the logistics of the whole thing, not that you want to participate.
No, I don't want to participate. But
Well, see, that'd be my first
how does
question.
that go?
That'd be my first question. Do we get to pick? Is it random?
You draw a number?
Yes. I would have a lot of questions too.
No, I'm getting out of there. Politely decline and say, no, thank you.
Are you calling your realtor or are you just...
Maybe the next day. Mm-hmm.
Do you guys just go down to like the great room? Like everybody? Are there designated areas?
Let me sleep on it. I'll get back to you tomorrow. Let me sleep on it.
Can I have the rest of that casserole?
No, that's when I would pull.
That's when you pull your Tupperware out. You're like, can I take that?
I need that.
You guys don't want this.
No, in all seriousness, that's when you pull the, hey, where's your bathroom? And then you don't go to the bathroom. You walk out the front door and you go. You're gone.
I would have no trouble telling them that we're not into that and it's not our thing. Appreciate dinner.
It's very flattering for the offer, right?
Yeah.
They must think made a good first impression if they're inviting you into the club. That's nice.
That's nice.
Well, it's better to be liked than not. I mean, I'd rather be invited and declined than not invited because then you're going to be like, man, am I not good enough?
So that would bother you. Let's say that you found out that all these people were invited over to dinner and you guys weren't.
Yeah, I'd be like, no one wants to swing because it's not Paige because Paige is beautiful. So I'd be like, oh, so y'all don't want to swing with me? Okay. I see how it is. Take a hit to the ego a little bit.
It's shoes, man.
Molly looks disgusted right now.
Do you think they vacation together?
Who?
No, I know that. Yes, because I won't say how I know this, but an establishment around here went in one night, and this was a crowded place, and there were different. This is not like it was a private event, but a swingers club. They had met there that night because they were about to go on their annual ski trip.
I see what they did there.
We have to ask BB, and maybe she'll text into the show next week. We see her at Social Taco because, she was very forthright last show where she was detailing that she's been to a couple of those beaches.
Yeah.
So I'm
not swingers beaches.
This definitely strikes me as a spoken from experience.
Yeah,
type
like
of
something
question.
perhaps taking place.
Correct.
So, all right. Well, that's today's Pat Ponders, brought to you by Courtesy GMC in Trussville, exit 32 in Trussville, right off of I-459.
I still have so many more questions.
Just Google it.
Not in here. 3-Man Front continues. Josh 94.5. Chariot, I'm Lord to carry me home. Swing low.
All your text messages are welcome at 205-834-9450. We got some rain last night. We're expecting some more rain this weekend. Golston Tree Service, they're your go-to tree service company right now. Call them at 205-337-4018. They're run by a certified arborist, and he can come out to your home, and he's going to give you an honest, free assessment of what's going on your property. If you've got a bad feeling that something doesn't look right, or perhaps heavy winds or a storm might bring some trees down, well, they're going to give you an honest idea of what potentially could happen. Matter of fact, a friend of mine in Trussville called Golston Tree Service. They came out to their house, and they were really worried about one specific tree. And they said, yeah, we want to cut that down. And Golston said, no. I mean, we'll cut it down if you want us to cut it down, but we're recommending that there's nothing wrong with the tree. We'll do a little trimming, but it's good to go. And sure enough, that tree has been outstanding over the last 3 years, did not cut it down. But Golston Tree Service, they didn't take the money. They said, look, you can save this tree. And that's exactly what they did. Call them today, 205-337-4018. Or if you do have something that needs to come down, they can take care of that. 24-hour emergency storm work as well. That is Golston Tree Service, 205-337-4018.
Well, the reaction, as you would expect from Pat Ponders, it's triggered a lot of responses. 205-834-9450 on the Jocks text line. Going back to Nick Saban, a potential run for Senate here in the state of Alabama. Pat asking, would he garner more than 60% of the vote like Tommy Tuberville did when he beat Doug Jones? Going back to residents and status of residency, this one reads, Saban doesn't own the house in Tuscaloosa. The Crimson Tide Foundation does, so that wouldn't work. I don't know if that's true or not. I'm reading. Would Nick run as a Republican, Independent, or Democrat? Seems to be some debate there. You guys want to offer up anything, you know? Just because he was with Joe Manchin.
Yeah,
but Joe Manchin, he renounced his Democratic Party affiliation. Isn't he an independent now?
He is an independent.
See, I was like, if you're going anyway, I'd probably lean independent for Saban.
This one reads, as a matter of fact, Saban's a Democrat. He's not going to get as many votes as you think. I don't know if he is or not. This one reads, with some of the social stances Saban has taken in the past, I'm not sure he would get 60 or 70% of the vote if he ran for office. Saban is a Democrat. I won't vote for him. He backed Democrat Mayor Walt Maddox of Tuscaloosa. Saban's best friend is West Virginia, is a Democrat. No, he's not anymore. Saban would vote with the Democrats, not the conservatives. MAGA all the way, all caps. Thank you very much.
All right. And speaking of that, literally this story broke 20 minutes ago. This is from Yahoo. It appears that President Donald Trump is making plans to create a presidential commission on college athletics, the first step in what could be months-long endeavor for solutions for the issues ailing the ecosystem of college sports. Multiple sources, both in Congress and within college sports, spoke to Yahoo Sports and said that Trump's plan is to develop this presidential commission. And many people believe that obviously his relationship with Nick Saban, you could see perhaps Nick being very involved in that. It doesn't say that he's going to be in charge of it or anything of that sort, but Saban is a central figure in the fight for college sports legislation. And we all know that during Trump's latest trip to Tuscaloosa, Nick Saban had an opportunity to meet with Tommy Tuberville and obviously Donald Trump in regards to what is now full-blown professionalism at the college ranks. So literally 20 minutes ago, Yahoo's reporting, like we just discussed, that was the potential of Donald Trump starting a commission and then perhaps Nick Saban being heavily involved in that. So the first step is obviously President Trump putting together that commission, and we'll see who is on that commission.
We'll also get to more of your texts if you want to react. A lot of people are doing so. 205-834-9450, 800-239-WJOX.
132 Jocks 94.5. We'll get back to your text messages momentarily. I had a friend down in Pelham call me and ask me for Abide Roofing's number, 205-922-7134, because their local professional team here in Birmingham at Abide Roofing, they're ready to help you by giving you a free roof inspection. And that's what my buddy wanted. So he called Abide Roofing and Travis Lloyd and his great team, and they headed down there and they gave an honest assessment of what was going on. They just had some loose shingles, and they're able to repair that. That's not going to be a problem whatsoever with Abide Roofing. My situation was a little bit different. Travis got on top of my roof and realized that not only did I have massive amounts of shingles damage because of hailstorms and just heavy wind over the years, but I was going to need a whole roof replacement. And so then my insurance company came into play here, and I needed Travis, and he was my advocate. And he was on the roof for over 2 hours dealing with my insurance company, and the insurance company was kind of dragging their feet. But Abide Roofing, they helped me to get that brand new roof, and the workmanship, the quality of my roof now was better than when my home was constructed when we had it built some years ago. So call Abide Roofing today. They can help you 100%. Trust these guys, and they can help you today. They're licensed, bonded, and insured. They're the real deal. At Abide Roofing, 205-922-7134, or just go to their website, Abide Roof. That's ABIDE roof.com.
You guys want some more text?
Yes. Let's go for it.
205-834-9450. Let's go to that Jocks text line. Larry. Hey guys, Larry here. Great show. For what it's worth, Tuberville lives in Florida. My wife and I were visiting a friend that lives down around Destin last summer. We were at a bar and grill, and Tommy was there. He stopped to talk to us because he knew my friend. Friend said that they lived in the same neighborhood. Just saying. Thank you, Larry. Posey sends this in for Conrad. Come here, boy, and smash my waffle.
Things an Alcatraz inmate would say to me.
For 500, Alex. What are things?
Yeah.
Back in the 80s, my men's soccer team traveled to Talladega Federal Prison to play the prison team. We were treated very well by the inmates, but there were guards with shotguns and rifles everywhere. We weren't allowed to bring anything into the prison except our uniforms and our shoes. They provided everything else. It was eye-opening. I'm sure that it was. Josh from Huntsville. I'm visiting Alcatraz on the 23rd during the day and doing a night tour.
Oh, okay.
I just want to see the baseball field there.
They have a baseball field at Alcatraz? Maybe it's not so bad after all. Did anyone ever escape from Alcatraz? Because that was the whole idea,
They did
right?
escape.
Was
Now,
nobody could
there's-
swim through the water.
Well, there's some debate on that. If you've ever seen the movie with Clint Eastwood, he played Frank. They never found him.
There were two brothers that supposedly, there was a group of three that tried to get off the island.
Yes.
And two brothers are reportedly been living in South America. That
They got off the island.
I was about to say, yeah, this happened in 1962. FBI law enforcement said they never found any bodies or evidence, but they concluded that they probably drowned.
They took rain jackets and they fashioned a raft.
Yeah.
And some
Really?
other things. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Huh.
Paper mache where it looked like they were still in their cells in their bed during
That's
the night
pretty,
check.
yeah.
But if
It's actually a really good
If you
movie.
watch all these different,
Documentaries or whatever.
and mystery shows
Yeah.
of, there is strong conjecture that those two brothers did make it, and they ended up in South America where they have been living and relatives.
Yeah.
Some would say that they couldn't have survived because of hypothermia, the water temperature, the currents.
Sharks.
But then others say no, they had somebody that came and picked them up.
Yeah.
And this was coordinated, and they were rescued there from the island.
Interesting. Okay.
Worked at Donaldson. Conrad wouldn't make it. Yeah, I don't think any of us believe he would.
Oh, in prison? No.
Yeah.
God, no. No.
I don't know. You could carve out a niche.
I don't want that niche. I don't want to go down that path. I'll take the dinner party. I'll take my chances at the dinner with the new neighbors.
You would go and be Bucky's butler before you would do that. I'm sorry. No, what I'm saying is that's far fetched, and you would never do that. He just plays into the joke. Is that a Rocky subject right now?
No.
Did that get back to family?
No, never mind.
Okay.
I thought you were doing a play on words there. Never mind.
No.
Yeah, Pat was with me.
You guys are so dirty.
Really waiting on that lure to come in there.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I'm sorry. I should have said manservant.
Thank you.
Oh, that's much better.
Read the next one.
I'm no CPA, but you couldn't live there on the rock. State taxes would probably apply, and definitely no cost effective to spend hundreds of millions of dollars to house 300 to 400 inmates. Okay, we go with Conrad's plan. We don't fix it up at all.
That's what I'm saying. If we want it to be a punishment, right?
We chum the water around the island every morning for the great whites.
Now, it might not be super safe with the security because I don't know how well the infrastructure is held up, but give it a try.
Originally a military base.
Oh, it was before it was a prison?
Mm-hmm.
I did not know that. Okay.
Corey, back to your question, or not your question, BB's question about the swingers party. If you were invited and you didn't realize the swingers party until you got there, you run for the party, consider selling the house, but have you seen the current prices? Or you join and become part of it like my brother and sister-in-law, and your marriage starts falling apart. Wow.
Ouch. Didn't see that one coming.
Nope.
I don't feel like you hear about those stories that end well.
It would just be so weird. Wrong, weird, whatever.
Yeah.
Tim, it sounds like BB's trying to fill y'all out a little bit. Laughing, crying emoji.
Hey, Molly has this on Twitter that just came in a moment ago. It's about P-Town.
Yeah, so this is from Pickleback. He says, my daughter and I were in P-Town 3 years ago on a New England road trip.
Him and his daughter.
Yes, Provincetown, excuse me.
P-Town.
P-Town, 3 years ago. On a New England road trip, and believe we went into this.
Went into...
To what?
The museum.
Eros.
Yes.
Is that was the name of it, right?
Roll the R, Pat. Just kidding, I don't know. Eros.
He continues.
Eros.
Seemed like a lot of dope paraphernalia. We walked upstairs and I took my daughter back down as soon as I got a glimpse.
Oh my.
I told you just by looking at the rusted out contraption that we saw that day that no thank you. This one rolls in. That swingers party brings a whole new meaning to Dirty Santa. Yeah, very true.
That's fun. That's good.
Key party typically refers to a type of swinging event where attendees exchange keys to their homes or vehicles and then go off with the person whose key they picked. Okay.
I wouldn't like that. I wouldn't want somebody just able to walk in my house at any given moment.
No, I think they're saying that's how they identify when you pick the key out. You're not giving them the key to your house.
That comes later. Yeah, that comes later.
Somebody knew about somebody texted in, good old Birmingham Ski Club. So that was... It was a fun people watch that night, just to watch the conversations of these people getting together. I'm not gonna read that one. Can't do it. BB here.
Uh-oh. Maybe we'll get an explanation.
The swinger thing never happened to me. However, I have had several awkward advances over 40 years in corporate life being propositioned to have affairs. Those also, all caps, never happened. I found it disgusting. Thank you, BB. Steve from Tuscaloosa. Conrad on a prison tour. An inmate recognizes Conrad. The inmate, in a rough gravel voice, says, "I know you. You're that peeing waffle stomper from the radio." Say, no, I can't read that.
I was gonna see if you were gonna say.
You were hoping it was going to be Anchorman?
No, I haven't. I know what the last line says, and when he started reading it, I was like, "Let's see where this one goes."
Mid-sentence edit. We're done. Thank you, Steve. If Huckleberry Pine Box from Destin can win, Saban can win. If college football gets a salary cap, doesn't that turn things back the old way with under the table payments and $100 handshakes? Yeah. It's not on the record. They'll find ways around it. We'll get to more of your text.
Well, this Mother's Day, you can celebrate her love, strength, and beauty with a lasting piece that she will cherish for a lifetime at Diamonds Direct. Did you know they can help you create the perfect personalized gift for mom? They're true experts, so whether it's meaningful birthstone jewelry, symbolic pieces, or a custom design that's one of a kind like she is. Plus, if you book an appointment, you get $100 off your purchase, and only Diamonds Direct can pack this much value into a gift for the woman who deserves it all. Shop Diamonds Direct this Mother's Day and give mom the most because no one deserves it more.
Three-man front. We continue on Jocks 94.5.
147 Jocks 94.5. If you missed any of our interviews today, Brian Edwards, Vegas Insider, Mike Newton from the Friends of Rickwood, Dimitri Ravenos from Barrett Media. You can go and download the 3-Man Front podcast and listen to those interviews. And tomorrow, 2 of our featured interviews will be Rodney Orr from Tiger Insider and Rob Pate, former Auburn DB.
Well, congratulations are in order for Wallace State softball as they won their regular season ACCC championship. They begin play tomorrow as the number 1 seed in the conference tournament over at Veterans Park in Alabaster. And Wallace State baseball will also begin play in the conference baseball tournament tomorrow as they face Northwest Shoals. Those games will be held in Oxford at Choco Loco Park. For more information on the Wallace State Lions, go visit them online at athletics.wallacestate.edu.
Well, there's been a lot of talk, and we've talked about it on this program, about how NIL in certain SEC schools are very far behind, and it might be tough for recruiting purposes, not only guys out of the transfer portal, but just high school athletes wanting to go to your certain school. Well, Mississippi State is not taking this laying down. They announced a few moments ago that Howard Industries, a leading manufacturer of electrical and technology products based in Mississippi, its founder was a Mississippi State graduate. They are now going to break ground on an indoor football practice facility. The facility is going to run about $60 million and will be done in the upcoming years. And so, needless to say, one of their big alums did not give how much money has been given to kind of spearhead this project, but the price tag is $60 million for the entire project. So Mississippi State is becoming one of the final teams in the Southeastern Conference to have an indoor practice facility. So that is coming to Starkville.
That's hard to believe.
In the next couple of years. Yep.
And shame on me, I just assumed that everybody in the SEC had one. But wasn't it recently that Texas, they got one?
Didn't they have one and then they built a new one?
The second one.
Yeah,
that
they had one. They built a new one.
Yeah. They're going to take the old one and now they're going to actually use it for, I think, some women's sports.
Yes.
To train and practice. So so they're anticipating breaking ground in Starkville in 2027, and it is expected the indoor training facility will open in the summer of 2028, and the interior renovations to the football complex will begin in 2029. So that is a huge story today as Mississippi State is making a significant financial commitment to their football program.
Back to your text, 205-834-9450. A lot of different stuff that have spawned from Pat Ponders and the questions submitted by Pat to the group and also BB, our great listener. Jimmy sends in and says, pineapple stickers on their cars. That is an indicator. I don't know if that's true or not. I've heard about.
I thought you put it outside your door, like an upside down pineapple out on the, I don't know, front steps.
Well, I've heard reference to a pineapple, but I didn't know if like the pineapple stickers on cars, if that.
Maybe that's the gateway. That's how you start getting in, right? You have to put the sticker on your car, and then once you get to a certain status within the club, you get.
Why don't we do this?
Upside down pineapple.
Yeah,
Landrum and I will find you some stickers, and we'll put it on your car, and we'll see what kind of reaction you get.
Okay. Sounds good.
We'll put one upright. We'll put one upside down.
Yeah.
That just means you're open to whatever.
As I am. I'm kidding, Paige.
Unbeknownst to Paige. Okay.
I've gotten myself in so much trouble today.
A funny story. Bumper stickers, man. Those you want to play a prank on somebody.
She's
get
walking
them a
around
bumper sticker that totally misrepresents who they truly are.
She's walking around the hospital and somebody's like, Paige, do you realize what your husband is discussing on the radio right now?
She's like, we were supposed to keep that private.
And she's going to go, well, if Landrum and Pat's there talking, yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah, I can imagine. Remember when Conrad was the sweet, innocent man that I married?
Y'all always get me in trouble. Nothing I do.
No, those seeds were sown back in Hayden.
Yeah.
Can't take the Hayden out of me.
Posey says it would not work putting prisoners at Alcatraz. Everyone has seen The Rock and they know how to escape now.
Oh.
I'm not saying current dilapidated conditions.
You want to upgrade?
Yeah, well, let's create some jobs.
Let's put some more sharks in the water. Make it more dangerous. More barbed wire. I don't know what else you can do.
I like that.
I'm trying to help.
And what's the worst that happens, right?
They escape and go to South America?
No, they escape and they get to San Francisco and they realize they need to go back. Hashtag truth. Conrad, would you rather go to the museum or say War Eagle?
I'll answer that for you right now. War Eagle.
I had a great follow-up, but yeah, you cut it off. There it is. Bill and Madison, guards and other workers and their families lived on Alcatraz Islands per Wikipedia.
Yeah, I guess it wouldn't be fun if you had to like take a boat to work every day on the island. You probably just be depressing to live there, though.
All right, this one coming in, so we have a conflicting sticker report. Eggplant sticker on car.
Never heard that one.
I haven't either.
I mean, Conrad uses the eggplant emoji a lot in our text messages.
Mm-hmm.
Is that what that means?
No, I thought it meant something else. But I guess not. Maybe it's all fruit. What about an upside down banana?
You know, a watermelon's considered a vegetable and a fruit.
Really?
Yeah, and is actually classified, I think, as a berry.
See, that's like when people say, what's my favorite vegetable? I say corn, because it is technically a vegetable, but it feels like cheating.
It is cheating.
But it is technically a vegetable.
No. Never really changes, does it?
No, it doesn't.
Mythbusters recreated the escape from Alcatraz, and they were successful.
Oh, well, then there you go. Whatever happened to those guys?
I don't know.
I used to love that. I love
Yeah.
that show.
That was good. I'm pretty sure Florida football didn't have an indoor facility until Dan Mullen got there. Collins from Pell City. Florida was another one. I think Miami, University of Miami was another one. In Charleston, they put upside pineapple in the windows of their house or on their porches. I reside here. Send us pictures of the pineapples. That's nice. See what somebody did there, Pat?
It went off, but I got a chance to see it. Yeah.
Yeah, they have photoshopped the Trump Casino Alcatraz. Let's do it. Golly. So many great texts. Thank you for the text today.
A lot of them you couldn't read?
A lot of them. Well, if you clean it up so much, then it doesn't make sense. Go ahead, Conrad.
I can't read it, but who sent this? I don't know. They don't have a name. It's just a number. The first word is option in the text. About 142. It's a great text, but we can't read it on the show. But it's so good. That is really good stuff, is it not?
Look at this, Pat.
It's the poll or the BB's question. That's really good. Is that the eggplant?
Which one of you are first?
God.
You have no idea who you've just invited into your home.
Oh, that's so good.
That is good. Thank you so much. You keep us entertained every single day. That's going to do it for us. Who knows what he's going to be talking about? Something tells me probably not this. Paul Feinbaum and the Paul Feinbaum Show comes your way next. Here on the home of college football and so much more, as you just found out today. 3-man front, Jocks 94.5. Have a great rest of your Wednesday. Go Braves. Let's get to 500.